So hey, what's up guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So in this video we are going to see a very interesting crossover between Naruto and Bleach. So yeah, the title of this video is what if Naruto was the reincarnation of Baraggan, the king of Mendo. So this is gonna be very interesting video, so watch till end, and if you want then you can comment your suggestion in comment section. And without wasting any more time, let's jump right back into the video.
Chapter 1. The cold beneath the red, the convergence, the ice mirrors glittered like a frozen prison built by a very beautiful nightmare. Naruto Uzumaki had never hated ice before. Ice was supposed to be simple. Cold water, snowballs, slippery roads. The kind of thing old ladies complained about and kids threw at each other until someone started crying. Ice was not supposed to move faster than his eyes could follow. Ice was not supposed to have faces in it. Ice was not supposed to turn the air itself into a weapon, but this ice did. Everywhere Naruto looked, Haku was there, a white mask in one mirror, a blur in another, a flicker above him, a shadow behind him. Then pain. Senbon struck Naruto's shoulder, his leg, his side. They were thin needles, almost gentle compared to kunai or shuriken, but that somehow made it worse. They did not tear. They entered with quiet precision, each one stealing strength from a different part of his body. Naruto staggered, gritted his teeth, and forced himself to stay upright. "Come out," he shouted, though his voice cracked halfway through. "Stop hiding behind your stupid mirrors." His answer was another flash of movement. A senbon slipped past his cheek so close it kissed skin. Another hit his wrist, making his fingers spasm. The kunai in Naruto's hand fell to the icy floor with a sharp little clink. From outside the dome, Sakura screamed something. Naruto couldn't hear the words. The ice distorted sound, bending it until everything beyond the mirrors felt far away, like he was underwater. Sasuke was still moving. That was the only thing keeping Naruto on his feet. Sasuke Uchiha, who always acted like he was better than everyone, who looked at Naruto like he was an annoying bug buzzing around his ear, who had spent the whole mission pretending he was too cool to care, that Sasuke was bleeding because of him. Naruto saw it again and again between Haku's attacks. Sasuke stepping into the path of needles meant for Naruto. Sasuke taking hits because Naruto couldn't react fast enough. Sasuke's breathing getting heavier. Sasuke's Sharingan burning red in his eyes, tracking the impossible movement one heartbeat better each time, but still not enough. Naruto hated that most of all. He hated being protected. He hated needing it. He hated that the person protecting him was Sasuke. Another volley came. Naruto tried to dodge. His legs barely listened. A senbon hit his calf and his knee buckled. He caught himself on one hand, palms skidding across the ice. His breath came out in little white clouds. Haku's voice drifted from everywhere at once. "You should stay down." Naruto looked up. In each mirror, Haku's masked face stared back at him. There was no anger in that voice, no joy either. That made it colder. Zabuza sounded like a monster when he talked about killing. Haku sounded like someone finishing chores before dinner. Naruto pushed himself up again. "Shut up," he whispered. The mirrors shimmered. "You are brave," Haku said, "but bravery does not change the result." Naruto's fingers curled against the ice. Bravery. People always said things like that when they were about to prove bravery didn't matter. Try hard, Naruto. Never give up, Naruto. Believe it, Naruto. And then the world would laugh and remind him that trying hard didn't stop Senbon. Never giving up didn't fix broken bones, and believing didn't make him fast enough to save Sasuke. Another blur. This time Naruto saw Haku move, not clearly, but enough to know death was coming from his left. He twisted. Too slow. The senbon struck deep into his shoulder. Naruto cried out and fell hard, sliding across the ice until his back hit the base of one of the mirrors. For one impossible second, the world was still. He lay there staring up at the inside of Haku's dome. The mirrors curved above him like frozen teeth. His body felt heavy, his arms would not move right, his breath rasped in his throat. Somewhere nearby, Sasuke shouted his name. Naruto wanted to answer. He couldn't. The cold pressed down, not just from the ice, from inside him. For the first time since the battle began, Naruto felt something stir beneath his fear. A pressure. A heat. Deep in his belly, behind the seal, something opened one furious eye. Kurama. Naruto didn't know the fox's name yet. He didn't know the shape of the thing sealed inside him. He knew only flashes. Red chakra, claws, rage, teeth in the dark, the feeling of being hated by something that lived beneath his skin. But right now, even that hatred felt familiar, useful, alive. The red chakra began to rise. It seeped through the cracks of Naruto's exhaustion like hot blood through snow. It curled around his heart. It licked at the edges of his thoughts. His fear sharpened into anger. His pain became fuel. Good. That was the word that came from somewhere below him, not spoken, growled. Good. Naruto's fingers twitched. The red chakra pushed higher in the mirrors. Haku paused. He felt it. Of course he did. Anyone with the instincts of a shinobi would feel it. The air changed when the nine tails chakra surfaced. It became heavy, wild, murderous. It felt like a cage door bending outward. Sasuke felt it too. His eyes widened. Naruto? Naruto's lips pulled back from his teeth. The seal burned. The fox reached upward. Then something reached from below and closed around it. The red chakra vanished, not faded, not suppressed. Vanished like a candle pinched between two ancient fingers. Inside Naruto's mind, something cracked inward. That was the only way to describe it. The seal had always felt like something deep and forbidden, a locked door behind another locked door. But this was not that door opening. This was the floor beneath it giving way. Naruto fell, not physically. His body still lay on the ice, trembling, surrounded by senbon and broken breath. But inside, Naruto fell past the place where anger lived, past the red glow, past the sound of claws striking metal bars, past Kurama's rage, down, 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 into a chamber he had never known existed. It was not the sewer. He had dreamed of the sewer before, though he never remembered it clearly after waking. Wet floors, rusted pipes, a massive gate, eyes burning in the dark. This was different. This place was dry. Stone stretched in every direction, gray and cracked like ruins left beneath a dead sun. Pillars rose into darkness. Tattered banners hung without moving. The air smelled of dust, old crowns, and endings. At the center of the chamber stood a throne. No, not stood, waited. It had waited for him. The throne was enormous, carved from pale stone that looked too much like bone. It was not decorated with gold or jewels. It did not need them. It had the horrible confidence of something that had existed before beauty was invented. And on that throne sat a king. Naruto could not see him clearly at first. His shape was hidden in shadow, broad and still, but he felt him. That was worse. The presence pressed against Naruto's soul like a mountain deciding whether to notice an ant. Behind Naruto, somewhere far above, Kurama roared. The sound shook the chamber. The king did not move. A massive hand rose from the throne's armrest. It was not hurried. It did not clench in anger. It simply lifted as if accepting tribute. The red chakra that had been rising through Naruto's body appeared in the chamber as flame. Kurama's flame, wild, burning, hungry. The king's hand closed around it. The flame died. For the first time Naruto had ever sensed it, the fox went silent. Then a voice filled the chamber. It was dry, ancient, not loud, because loudness belonged to things that needed to prove they existed. This voice did not. So, it said, "The cage finally cracks." Naruto tried to speak. His mouth wouldn't work. The shadow on the throne leaned forward. Two eyes opened in the dark. They were not red. They were not human. They were the color of old bones beneath moonlight. "Rise," said the king. Naruto's body obeyed. Outside, in the ice mirror dome, Haku watched the impossible happen. Naruto Uzumaki stood up, not like a wounded boy forcing himself through pain, not like a Jinchuriki consumed by bestial rage. He stood like someone remembering that the ground existed to hold him. His spine straightened. His shoulders settled. His chin lifted a fraction. The wildness disappeared from his face. That was what frightened Haku first, not the power. The calm. Naruto's eyes opened. They were still blue, but something had gone wrong with them. The color remained, but the boy behind them seemed farther away, as if Naruto were now looking through his own eyes from a distance of several centuries. Haku's fingers tightened around his needles. The temperature dropped. That should not have been possible. This was Haku's domain. His ice, his chakra, his technique. The dome had been built from his bloodline limits, shaped by his will and maintained by his control. The cold inside it belonged to him, but this cold did not. This was not winter, this was age. The mirrors began to fog. Haku stared. The fog was forming on the inside of the mirrors, not from breath, not from heat meeting cold, from something moving through the air like an invisible hand rubbing life off the surface of the world. Naruto exhaled. The breath that left his mouth was visible, but not white. It was gray. A dark shimmer rolled outward from his lips, slow and thin, like smoke from a candle that had been burning in a tomb. The nearest ice mirror changed. It did not crack. It did not melt. It aged. The surface lost its shine. The flawless reflection dulled. Tiny fractures spread through it, not as lines but as 1,000 branching memories of damage that had never happened. The ice yellowed, then grayed. The chakra resonance holding its structure together stuttered and failed. The mirror collapsed into powder. No crash, no explosion. Just a soft sigh as one of Haku's greatest weapons became dust. Haku forgot to breathe. Outside the dome, Kakashi's head snapped toward Naruto, his Sharingan spun. For a fraction of a second, he expected red chakra. The 9 tails, the beast's cloak, a Jinchuriki manifestation. What he saw made no sense. There was chakra. Naruto still had chakra. It moved through his body, thin and disturbed like a river forced under ice. But around it was something else. Not chakra, not exactly. Kakashi's eye tried to read it and failed. The Sharingan could copy movement. It could track chakra flow. It could see the patterns of ninjutsu, taijutsu, genjutsu. It was one of the greatest analytical tools the shinobi world had ever produced. And for the first time since Kakashi had learned to use it, the Sharingan gave him no answer, only shape, pressure. A distortion around Naruto's body like the air itself had remembered how old it was. Kakashi's blood chilled. "What are you?" he whispered. Zabuza heard him. The demon of the mist kept one hand on his blade and one eye on his opponent, but even he glanced toward the dome. His instincts prickled. He could not see clearly through the ice, but he felt the change in the battlefield. The mist near the dome thinned, not blown away, not frozen, thinned. As if the water hanging in the air had grown tired and fallen apart. Inside the mirrors, Haku moved. Training saved him, not confidence. Not understanding. Training, his body reacted before his mind finished processing the impossible. He vanished into the remaining mirrors, bouncing between reflections faster than most ninja could blink. Needles flashed from 3 directions. Naruto did not move quickly. He moved correctly. One step to the side, a tilt of the head, a slow turn of the wrist. The senbon passed through the gray shimmer around him. The first needle rusted before it crossed half the distance. The second turned brittle and broke apart midair. The third reached Naruto's sleeve, touched the fabric, and fell in 2 pieces. Its metal darkened as if left in rain for 100 years. Haku reappeared in a mirror behind him. Naruto turned his head, not fast, not surprised, patient. Haku's stomach tightened. Fast opponents could be outmaneuvered. Strong opponents could be redirected. Angry opponents could be baited. But this was not speed. This was inevitability wearing a child's face. Haku launched another volley, larger this time. 20 needles from every angle. High, low, left, right. A pattern designed to herd the target into a killing lane. Naruto opened his mouth slightly. The gray breath flowed out. The needles entered it and died, not stopped, died. Metal remembered rust. Wood remembered rot. Chakra remembered that it had always been temporary. Haku shifted again, but for the first time since creating the dome, his movement stuttered. One mirror failed beneath his feet. It dulled without warning, its surface crumbling just as he pushed off. His balance broke. Haku landed awkwardly on the ice floor, one hand down, mask angled toward Naruto. Naruto looked at him. Little bird, Naruto said. The voice was Naruto's, and absolutely not Naruto's. Sasuke felt the hairs rise along his arms. Naruto had called people dumb things before. Team, bastard, bushy brow. He shouted nicknames like weapons because he didn't know how else to make the world answer him, but this voice was quiet, dry, amused in a way that had nothing to do with humor. Flying between mirrors, the voice continued. Pretending glass is sky. Haku stood slowly. His mask hid his expression, but not his breathing. You are not Naruto Uzumaki. For a moment the old blue eyes sharpened, something inside them flickered, a boy trapped behind a throne, then it was gone. Naruto Uzumaki? The voice said, tasting the name like an inherited title of questionable worth. Yes, that is the name of this vessel. Sasuke's Sharingan widened. Vessel, that word landed colder than any ice. Naruto's gaze drifted toward him. For 1 second, Sasuke saw recognition. Pain, fear, a silent plea. Then the ancient calm slid back over Naruto's face. Haku saw it too. That brief flicker changed everything. Until that moment, Haku had been fighting an enemy. A terrifying one, yes, but still an enemy. Now he understood, not fully but enough, that Naruto was not attacking him. Something was standing through Naruto, something that had risen because Naruto was dying, something that might not give the body back. Haku's fingers tightened around a final set of senbon. I do not wish to kill you, Haku said. The thing inside Naruto looked almost bored. You could not. That should have sounded arrogant. It did not. It sounded like weather. Haku moved. This time he did not attack Naruto directly. He struck the mirrors themselves, channeling more chakra into the dome, reinforcing the structure. If the decay was affecting the ice, then the ice needed more power. More stability, more of his will. The mirrors brightened. For a heartbeat, the dome became beautiful again. A palace of winter. Naruto watched. Then he lifted one hand, not in a jutsu sign, not in a guard. A king allowing a servant to approach. Everything built, he said, is built in defiance of time. His fingers curled slightly. The gray shimmer widened. The first row of mirrors aged all at once. Haku poured chakra into them. The chakra decayed. His eyes widened beneath the mask. That was the true horror. He had thought the breath was destroying ice. It was not. It was destroying duration. The mirrors existed because Haku's chakra maintained them in a state of frozen perfection. But Naruto's gray breath touched that state and dragged it forward. The chakra pattern aged. The structure aged. The technique's future arrived too soon. The mirrors did not break because they were weak. They broke because their time was over. One by one, the ice mirrors went gray outside the dome. Sakura stepped backward. At first, she thought the ice was melting. That would have made sense. Naruto had somehow released heat. Maybe the Nine Tails chakra had flared strangely. Maybe his anger had overwhelmed Haku's technique, but the dome was not melting. Meltwater did not run down its sides. No steam rose. The mirrors sagged into dust. Gray powder slid across the bridge in soft waves. Sakura covered her mouth. Naruto? She had said his name so many times, annoyed, worried, angry, encouraging. This time she said it like a question she was afraid someone might answer. Kakashi heard the fear in her voice and hated that he shared it. He wanted to move. Every instinct as a teacher screamed at him to intervene. Naruto was his student. Sasuke was injured. Sakura was exposed. The mission had spiraled beyond anything a C rank should contain, but Zabuza still stood across from him. And more than that, Kakashi did not know what he would be intervening against. Haku retreated toward the last ring of mirrors. Naruto walked after him, walked. The boy who sprinted everywhere, shouted everywhere, crashed into life like a thrown brick, walked. Each step made the ice beneath his sandals dull. Not enough to collapse yet, but enough to leave gray footprints. Haku fired again, not to win, to create distance. Naruto's breath took the needles. The remaining mirrors trembled. Haku's back touched one of them. For the first time, Naruto smiled. It was small, thin, regal, cruel only because it was so detached from the idea of cruelty. A loyal tool, he said. How familiar! Haku froze. That struck deeper than any attack. Naruto's head tilted. Your master points. the voice continued, and you move. Your master wounds and you bleed in his place. Your master dreams and you call it purpose. Haku's hands shook. Stop. The gray breath curled around Naruto's shoulders. You were not born a weapon, the king said. You were shaped into one, and now you mistake the hand that holds you for the reason you exist. Haku launched forward, not through the mirrors, directly, a senbon in each hand. For the first time in the fight, Haku abandoned perfect technique. He moved with anger, grief, and something too close to panic. His speed was still extraordinary, his form still elegant. But the calm was gone. Naruto did not dodge. The senbon entered the gray field. The metal aged. Haku pushed through anyway. The sleeves of his outfit dulled at the edges. The fabric frayed. The cloth at his wrists weakened as though worn for years in harsh weather. Haku's eyes widened, but he did not stop. He aimed not for Naruto's heart, not for his throat, but for the senbon already embedded in Naruto's shoulder, a pressure point. A way to disable without killing. For one brief instant, the old Naruto surfaced. His eyes went wide, scared, human. Haku saw him. The senbon stopped a finger's width from Naruto's skin. That hesitation saved Haku's life. Because the thing beneath Naruto noticed, the gray pressure thickened. Haku's mask cracked, not from impact. From age, a line spread down the white surface, then another. Paint flaked. The smooth porcelain dulled. Haku leapt backward, tearing himself out of the field before it could reach skin. He landed hard on one knee, his mask split and fell away in two pieces. Naruto stared at his face. For the first time, the king behind Naruto's eyes seemed mildly interested. "You are young," he said. Haku breathed hard. "So are you," a pause. Then, from somewhere deep behind Naruto's eyes, something like sorrow flickered. "I was," Naruto whispered, his real voice. Only for a second. But Sakura heard it, Sasuke heard it, Haku heard it. Then Naruto's body stiffened, the ancient presence surged back, colder than before. Inside the mindscape, Naruto screamed. He was standing in the throne room now, though standing felt like the wrong word. His body outside was moving, speaking, breathing gray death into the world, but inside he was trapped before the bone throne. Kurama's cage existed somewhere beyond the chamber, and the fox slammed against it in a rage that shook stone dust from the ceiling. "Brat!" Kurama roared. "Fight him!" Naruto turned toward the sound. "I'm trying," on the throne, the king watched with one hand resting against his cheek. Trying, the word amused him. Naruto rounded on him. "Give it back," he shouted. "That's my body," the king's gaze lowered to him. For the first time, Naruto saw him clearly. A massive figure, broad shoulders, silver beard, a crown that looked like bone and conquest, eyes that had watched empires rise, rot, and call it history. "You were dying," the king said. "I corrected the inconvenience. I didn't ask you to." "No," the king leaned back. "You begged the world to notice you. This is the first time it has obeyed." Naruto flinched. The words hit too close. Kurama snarled from beyond the chamber. "You think you can take what is mine?" The king did not look toward him. "Fox," he said, with the faint irritation of someone addressing a barking dog several streets away. "Your noise is beneath discussion." The entire mindscape shook with Kurama's fury. Naruto clenched his fists. "I don't care who you are. I won't let you hurt my friends." At that, the king finally smiled. Not kindly, not fully. A small movement like a tomb door opening 1 inch. "Friends," he said. "Yes, the dark-haired one bleeding because you were weak. The pink-haired one trembling because she finally sees you. The masked teacher preparing to fear what he failed to understand." Naruto's face twisted. "Shut up. They matter to you." "Yes. Then learn the first law of kingship." The king raised his hand. Outside, Naruto's body opened its mouth. Inside, the king said, "What matters to you can be used to command you." The largest wave of Respira yet rolled through the dome. The remaining ice mirrors died together. The entire structure collapsed, not down, inward. The dome became a storm of gray powder, falling in slow curtains around everyone trapped inside. Sasuke shielded his face with one arm. Haku leapt back. Naruto stood in the center, untouched, the powder swirling around him like ash from a kingdom already burned. For a second, no one moved. The battlefield had changed shape. The mirror dome was gone. The bridge was visible again. So were the others. Kakashi stood with Sharingan uncovered, one hand half raised. Zabuza stared from the mist, silent. Sakura looked like she wanted to run to Naruto and away from him at the same time. Sasuke pushed himself upright against a broken sheet of ice, breathing hard, eyes locked on Naruto. Haku stood several steps away, mask broken, face exposed, expression unreadable. Naruto looked at all of them. His gaze passed over Sakura, over Sasuke, over Kakashi. Then back to Haku. The ancient voice spoke one final time. Enough. Naruto's knees buckled. The pressure vanished. The gray shimmer collapsed into nothing. Warmth rushed back into the world with such suddenness that Sakura gasped. Naruto fell forward. Sasuke moved before thinking. He caught him barely. Naruto's body hit him with more weight than expected, limp and shaking. Sasuke grunted, pain flashing across his face from his own injuries, but he held on. Naruto, Sasuke snapped. Hey, idiot, wake up! Naruto's eyes fluttered. For a moment they were just blue again, terrified, confused. Young Sasuke, he whispered. Sasuke's jaw tightened. Yeah. Naruto looked past him. The ice mirrors were gone. Only gray powder remained. Haku stood alive. Sakura was crying. Kakashi looked afraid. Naruto stared at his own hands. What did I do? No one answered, because no one knew. Behind Naruto's eyes, deep below the seal, beneath the fox's fury and the boy's fear, the throne room settled into silence. Baraggan Louisenbairn leaned back on his throne. For the first time since awakening, he looked almost satisfied. Above his brow, in the mindscape, the first faint outline of a crown began to form. Outside, on the ruined bridge, Haku saw something flicker over Naruto's head, just for a moment. A ghost image, a crown of bone, then it vanished. Naruto passed out in Sasuke's arms. And somewhere, far beneath the red, something ancient waited to rise again. Chapter 2. The king on the bridge, a new order. Naruto woke to the sound of someone breathing too loudly. For a moment, he thought it was him. Then he realized the breath was coming from Sasuke. The Uchiha was kneeling beside him on the cold bridge, one arm braced against the ground, the other still gripping the front of Naruto's jacket as if he was afraid Naruto might fall through the floor if he let go. Sasuke's face was pale. Blood spotted his clothes from the Senbon wounds. His Sharingan was still active, but the eyes did not look sharp anymore. They looked strained, confused, almost angry. Naruto blinked up at him. Sasuke's mouth tightened. You idiot! Normally, that would have started a fight. Normally, Naruto would have snapped back, called him a team. Told him he had everything under control. Pretended his hands were not shaking and his heart was not trying to punch its way out of his chest. But Naruto only stared past Sasuke's shoulder. The ice dome was gone, not broken. Gone. The battlefield was covered in gray dust. Powder drifted over the bridge in thin, soft layers, gathering in cracks between the wooden planks, clinging to Sasuke's sleeves, lying in the air like the remains of a burned-out memory. Naruto slowly lifted one hand. His fingers trembled. What happened? Sasuke did not answer immediately. That was worse than any insult. Sasuke always had an answer. Even when he didn't, he acted like he did. But now he looked at Naruto like he was trying to decide whether the boy in front of him was still Naruto at all. You stood up, Sasuke said finally. Naruto swallowed. I remember that. No. Sasuke said, You don't. The words landed cold in Naruto's stomach. Before Naruto could ask what that meant, Sakura's voice cracked through the silence. Naruto, she ran toward him. For 1 second, Naruto felt relief, actual relief. Sakura was okay. Sasuke was alive. Kakashi-sensei was still standing. The bridge was still there. The mission was somehow still happening, even though Naruto felt like the whole world had tilted sideways. Then Sakura stopped, not far away, just a few steps from him, but she stopped. Her feet froze against the gray powder. Her hands were half raised, like she had meant to grab him and check his wounds, but something invisible had caught her wrists. Naruto saw the fear in her face before she could hide it. He wished he hadn't. Sakura-chan, he said, her lips parted. I'm glad you're awake. That was all. No scolding, no relieved shouting, no angry punch to the head, no "you reckless idiot" with tears in her eyes, just careful words, as if Naruto had become something fragile or dangerous. A few steps away, Haku stood silently among the ruins of his own technique. His mask was broken. One half lay near Naruto's foot, aged and cracked, no longer smooth white porcelain but dull and brittle like something dug out of an old grave. Without the mask, Haku looked younger than Naruto expected. Softer, sadder, Naruto stared at him, images flashed behind his eyes. Haku moving through mirrors, needles flying cold, red chakra rising, then darkness. A throne, a voice. Naruto grabbed his head. For a second, the bridge disappeared. He was back in that stone chamber. The bone throne loomed in the dark. A king sat upon it, one elbow resting on the armrest, chin on his knuckles, watching Naruto with the bored patience of something that had already won. Naruto heard the voice again, little king of a little village. He gasped and jerked back to the present. Sasuke's grip tightened. Naruto? "I'm fine," Naruto said quickly. He wasn't. Everyone knew he wasn't, even he knew he wasn't. Across the bridge, the battle had paused. That was the strangest part. Battles were not supposed to pause for Genin. The world did not stop because Naruto Uzumaki had a bad moment. It had never stopped for him before. It had stepped over him, ignored him, laughed at him, shoved him aside. But now everyone was looking at him. Kakashi, Zabuza, Sakura, Sasuke, Haku, even Tazuna, hiding near the bridge supports, had gone completely still. Naruto had spent his whole life wanting people to look at him. Now that they finally were, he wanted to disappear. Zabuza Mamachi was the first to move. The demon of the hidden mist did not lower his blade. He did not relax. His eyes remained locked on Naruto with the cautious focus of a predator that had just realized there was something larger in the forest. "Kakashi," Zabuza said slowly. Kakashi did not look away from Naruto. "What? What the hell is that brat?" The question hit harder because Zabuza did not say it like an insult. He said it like a professional assessment, like he was asking what kind of poison had entered the air. Kakashi's Sharingan spun once, then slowed. "He's my student." Zabuza's eyes narrowed. That wasn't an answer. Kakashi's hand curled. "No," he said quietly. "It wasn't." Naruto looked from one Jonin to the other. His mouth went dry. "Sensei," Kakashi's visible eyes softened for half a heartbeat. Then the shinobi mask returned. "Naruto, stay behind Sasuke. Sakura, check him for injuries." "Sasuke, don't push yourself." Sasuke scoffed, but his arm shook as he helped Naruto sit upright. Sakura moved closer this time, carefully. She knelt beside Naruto and began removing the senbon with trembling fingers. Her hands were gentle, too gentle. Naruto hated that too. Every needle she pulled free made him wince, but the pain felt normal, human. Good, almost. It reminded him his body was still his body, mostly. Then Sakura touched his shoulder and flinched. Naruto noticed. "What?" She forced a smile. "Nothing." "Sakura-chan?" Her eyes flicked to his shoulder again. Naruto looked. The skin around one of the senbon marks was gray, not bruised, gray, just a small patch, barely wider than a coin, but it was there. The skin looked dry, faintly rough, as if years had passed over that one spot and nowhere else. Naruto stared. Sakura quickly covered it with a bandage. "It's probably chakra burn," she said. She was lying, badly. Sasuke looked at the bandage, then at Naruto's face. Naruto looked away. Inside him, something stirred, not the fox. The other thing, that was the worst part. Naruto could tell the difference now. Kurama's presence was hot, angry, like a furnace behind a locked door. This new presence was cold and vast, not asleep, not active, simply waiting. It did not feel like an animal. It felt like a throne room with someone sitting in it. Naruto pressed one hand against his stomach. For the first time in his life, the seal felt crowded. Across the bridge, Zabuza adjusted his grip on the executioner's blade. The motion was small, but Kakashi caught it instantly. "Don't." Zabuza gave a low chuckle. "You giving orders now, copy ninja?" "I'm giving advice." Zabuza's gaze shifted to Naruto. "Advice about him?" Kakashi did not answer. Zabuza smiled behind his bandages, but the smile did not reach his eyes. The mist around the bridge thickened again. Naruto felt Sasuke tense beside him. Haku turned sharply. Zabuza-sama. Zabuza ignored him. The mist rolled forward, swallowing the broken remains of the ice dome, curling around ankles, creeping between bodies. This was Zabuza's battlefield now. The dome was gone. The boy was wounded. Kakashi was distracted. Sasuke could barely stand. The demon of the mist knew opportunities when he saw them, or he thought he did. Hidden mist jutsu, Kakashi muttered. The world became white. Naruto heard Sakura inhale sharply. Everyone stay close, Kakashi said. Do not move alone. Zabuza's voice came from everywhere. Relax, Kakashi. I'm not going for your students. That was a lie. Everyone knew it. The mist made liars of distance. A voice could sound far and be close enough to cut your throat. A blade could emerge from nowhere. A footstep could be bait. A breath could be death. Naruto's fingers dug into the wood beneath him. He hated this. He hated not knowing where the enemy was. He hated being weak. He hated that something inside him had stood up when he couldn't. A shape moved in the mist. Sasuke turned too late. Zabuza appeared behind Naruto. The executioner's blade came down. Kakashi moved at the same time, lightning fast, but he was too far. Sasuke tried to pull Naruto away, but his injuries slowed him. Sakura screamed. Naruto saw the blade's shadow cover him, and then time changed, not stopped, not slowed the way genjutsu slowed the mind, changed. The air became thick. The mist seemed to hang in place, each droplet suspended like tiny pearls. Zabuza's blade descended with terrifying power, but Naruto could see it now. Not because he had become faster, not because his eyes had improved, because something inside him was looking at the attack from very far away. A second before it arrived, a minute before it arrived, a century before it arrived, Naruto's body moved one step. That was all. The blade slammed into the bridge where he had been sitting, would split. Gray powder jumped. Zabuza's eyes widened. Naruto stood beside the blade, breathing softly. His posture had changed again, shoulders back, chin lifted, eyes dry, old. Sasuke stared up at him. No, Sakura went pale. Kakashi arrived a heartbeat later and froze. Zabuza pulled his blade free and leapt back. He had not survived as long as he had by ignoring instinct. His instincts were now screaming. Naruto looked at him, no anger, no fear, no excitement. That absence was worse than killing intent. Zabuza had faced killing intent all his life. He understood it. Killing intent was desire sharpened into a blade. It meant someone wanted you dead. It meant they were invested. It meant they cared enough to hate you. This boy did not hate him. This boy did not even seem interested. He looked at Zabuza the way Zabuza might look at a stone in his path. Something to step over or grind down. The mist near Naruto began to thin, not blown away. Not dispersed, aging. The droplets lost their cohesion, falling apart into invisible dryness. The dampness in the air died around him, creating a hollow space in the fog. Zabuza saw it happen, his eyes narrowed. What kind of jutsu is that? Naruto's mouth moved. The voice that came out was not loud. Jutsu. He said the word like someone handling a crude tool from a primitive age. Zabuza's hand tightened around his sword. You mocking me, brat? Naruto turned his head slightly. The gray shimmer returned, faint at first, then thicker. Brat. The ancient voice repeated. How bold from a man who hides in mist and calls himself demon. Zabuza's smile vanished. Kakashi's blood ran cold. The presence was back. Naruto, Kakashi said carefully, listen to me. Naruto's eyes shifted toward him. For one brief second, Kakashi saw the boy. The real boy, terrified, trapped behind his own face. Then the old thing looked out again. You are his teacher, it said. Kakashi did not move. Yes. Then you failed to keep him alive. The words were quiet. They still struck harder than a punch. Kakashi's jaw tightened. Zabuza laughed once, short and sharp. Oh, I like this one. The gray eyes turned back to him. Zabuza immediately stopped laughing. A lesser shinobi might have attacked out of pride. Zabuza was not lesser. He moved because standing still felt like accepting death, silent killing technique. He vanished into the mist, not a substitution. Not a trick, true assassination movement, silent feet, controlled breath. Blade held for a killing angle. He circled outside the thinning zone, searching for an opening, testing distance. Naruto did not follow him with his eyes. He simply stood, waiting. Zabuza came from behind. His blade swung low this time, not to kill, but to cut the legs and retreat before the gray field touched him. Naruto stepped aside. Again, only one step. The blade missed by the width of a hand. Zabuza's sleeve brushed the edge of the shimmer. The effect was instant. The bandages around his forearm browned. Cloth fibers curled and broke apart. The exposed skin beneath dried, wrinkling slightly, age spots appearing in a spreading line from wrist to elbow. Zabuza jerked back with a sharp hiss. The damage stopped the moment he left the field. He looked at his arm. For the first time in years, the demon of the mist looked genuinely unsettled, not afraid, not yet, but close enough that Kakashi noticed. Haku did too. "Zabuza-sama," Haku said, stepping forward. "Stay back." Zabuza snapped. Haku stopped. That alone told everyone how serious this had become. Zabuza never protected Haku with softness. He ordered. He used. He commanded. But this order had not been strategy. It had been warning. Naruto's gaze moved to Zabuza's damaged arm. "So," the king said through Naruto's mouth, "even demons learn." Zabuza's eyes sharpened. "You think that trick makes you a king?" The air went still, very still. Inside Naruto's mind, something leaned forward on its throne. Outside, Naruto's lips curved, a small smile, not happy, regal. "Think," the bridge creaked beneath him. "Little assassin, I do not think I am a king." The gray shimmer spread 1 inch farther, I remember. No one spoke. Even the mist seemed to hold its breath. Then the bridge shook, not from Naruto. From the far end, dozens of footsteps. Then hundreds. Rough voices rolled across the bridge. Boots struck wood. Weapons clattered. Men laughed with the ugly confidence of people arriving late to a fight they expected someone else to have already won. Gato had arrived. The tiny crime lord came forward beneath the cover of his mercenary army, dressed in expensive clothes that looked ridiculous against the blood and mist of the battlefield. He pushed past 2 larger men, face twisted with irritation. "What is taking so long?" Gato shouted. "I paid for a bridge builder's death, not a dramatic stage play." Tazuna stiffened in the distance. Sakura looked horrified. Kakashi's eye narrowed. Zabuza turned his head slightly. The timing could not have been worse. Or perhaps, Naruto thought from somewhere far inside himself, it could not have been better. Gato looked at the destroyed ice, the wounded genin, the gray powder covering the bridge, then at Zabuza's damaged arm. His expression soured. "You look pathetic, Zabuza." Zabuza's killing intent flickered. Gato either did not notice or was too stupid to care. "I should have known hiring a missing nin was a waste, all reputation, no results." He tapped his cane against the bridge. "But don't worry, I brought enough men to clean up this mess." Behind him, the mercenaries jeered. Some carried swords, some axes, some crossbows. None of them had chakra worth mentioning. None of them understood shinobi battlefields. They saw children, a tired bridge builder, 1 wounded masked boy, and 2 elite ninja who looked like they had already spent most of their strength. They did not see the king. Naruto turned toward them. The mercenary laughter faded unevenly. The first rank stopped because the boy looked at them. The second rank bumped into the first. Gato scowled. "What are you waiting for? Kill them!" No one moved. Gato's face reddened. "I said kill them." A few men advanced. Not because they were brave. Because they were more afraid of Gato not paying them than of a 12-year-old boy standing in dust. That lasted 4 seconds. Naruto exhaled. The gray breath rolled forward, slow, wide, quiet. It slid across the bridge like an invisible tide carrying the scent of old tombs and dead winters. The wooden planks beneath it changed first. Fresh cut boards grayed, grain warped, nails rusted in their sockets. The first mercenary stepped into the edge of the field and screamed. Not from blood. Not from a wound, from seeing his own hand change. The skin wrinkled. Fingernails yellowed. His knuckles stiffened. A decade passed across his fingers in the time it took him to blink. He dropped his sword and stumbled backward, crashing into the men behind him. Another man's beard went gray at the edges. A third felt his knees weaken and fell hard, sobbing in confusion. The field stopped before it killed. Not because Baraggan lacked power, because Naruto fought. Inside, in the throne room, Naruto stood in front of the king with both fists clenched. No. The king's eyes lowered to him. You object. They're running. They came to kill. They're running, Kurama growled from beyond the chamber, voice like a furnace behind bars. Let them die, brat. They would have cut you open, and laughed. Naruto turned toward the fox's distant voice. I don't care, the king watched him. Mercy, Baraggan said. Naruto glared back. Yes, mercy is a luxury kings grant when they wish to be admired. No, Naruto said, it's what people do when they don't want to become monsters. Silence. For the first time, the king did not immediately answer. Outside, the Respira field slowed. The mercenaries did not understand why. They only understood that the bridge itself had started dying beneath their feet. That was enough. Panic spread faster than any command. Men shoved each other backward. Swords were dropped. Crossbows clattered. Someone screamed that the boy was cursed. Someone else shouted that the bridge was haunted. Within seconds, the organized line became a stampede. Gato was nearly knocked over. Stop, he shrieked. Stop, you cowards, I pay you. A large mercenary grabbed him by the collar and dragged him backward, not out of loyalty, but because Gato was physically blocking the retreat. The army broke. They ran, not defeated by taijutsu, not scattered by ninjutsu. Routed by the simple animal understanding that something on the bridge made time itself hostile. Naruto watched them go. The gray shimmer faded, his body swayed slightly. Kakashi moved closer, cautiously. Naruto? The old posture remained, but weaker now. The boy was pushing back. Everyone could feel it, though none of them understood it. Haku stepped forward. Sasuke immediately raised a kunai. Haku ignored him. He walked slowly toward Naruto and stopped several steps away. Then he bowed. The movement stunned the bridge into silence. Zabuza's eyes widened. Haku? Haku remained bowed, not like a servant, not like a defeated enemy, like someone acknowledging a truth he did not know how else to name. Naruto looked down at him. The king's voice came softly. You surrender. Haku lifted his head. No. That answer interested the presence behind Naruto's eyes. Haku's expression was calm, but there was pain in it now. Without the mask, there was nowhere for it to hide. I recognize you. Naruto's face did not change. Haku continued. I spent my life believing I was useful because someone needed me, that if I was a tool, then I had a reason to exist. But when your power touched my mirrors, I understood something. He looked at the gray powder beneath his feet. Even the strongest tool breaks when time reaches it. Zabuza's grip tightened on his sword. Haku looked back at Naruto. You were invisible before this. I could see it when we spoke in the forest. You smiled too loudly. You wanted the world to answer you, then something answered from inside you instead. Naruto's eyes flickered. Blue returned, real blue, hurt blue. Haku's voice softened. I am sorry. Those 3 words did what Haku's needles had not. They pierced Naruto. The ancient cold cracked. Naruto surfaced fully enough for his face to crumple, not crying, not yet, but close. I didn't want this, Naruto whispered. Haku nodded. I know. For one fragile moment, the bridge belonged to 2 children who had both been turned into weapons by forces older and stronger than them. Then Baraggan returned. The softness vanished. Naruto straightened. Haku saw the change and lowered his gaze, not in fear, but in understanding. The king looked at him for a long moment. A tool that knows it is a tool, he said. Rare. Haku said nothing. Live, then. Zabuza's head snapped toward Naruto. What? Naruto turned away from Haku as if the matter was settled. A king has no need to destroy what has already bent. Haku's eyes narrowed slightly. I did not bend. The faintest hint of amusement touched Naruto's mouth. No, the king said. Perhaps not. Zabuza let out a rough breath that might have been a laugh and might have been something else. The battlefield was over. No one announced it. No one surrendered, no one cheered. It simply became impossible to continue. Gato's army was gone. Gato himself had vanished with them, screaming insults no one cared about. Zabuza was wounded and no longer willing to test the gray field. Haku was alive, but his mirrors were dust. Kakashi still stood, but his concern had shifted from enemy shinobi to his own student. And Naruto stood at the center of the bridge like a question the world did not want to answer. The mist began to clear. Sunlight touched the bridge. It should have felt hopeful. Instead, the light revealed every gray footprint Naruto had left behind, every aged plank, every patch of dead frost, every sign that something impossible had walked there. Tazuna emerged slowly from cover. His face was pale. His hands shook. But he was alive, and when he looked at Naruto, his eyes held something complicated: gratitude, fear. Or that combination would follow Naruto for a long time. Is it? Tazuna swallowed. Is it over? No one answered at first. Then Kakashi said, for now. Zabuza looked toward Haku. The boy returned to his side without hesitation. There was something different between them now. Small, but real. Zabuza did not call him tool, did not order him to stand behind, did not even look angry that Haku had bowed to someone else. He only stared at the broken mask in Haku's hand and then at Naruto. Looks like the mission's done, Zabuza said. Kakashi's eyes sharpened. You're leaving? Zabuza rested the executioner's blade across his shoulder. I'm not being paid enough to fight whatever that is. Naruto's gaze moved to him. Zabuza held it for one heartbeat, two, then he looked away first, not dramatically, not like a coward, like a man deciding survival mattered more than pride. Haku, he said, we're going. Haku bowed once to Naruto. This time Naruto did not speak. Zabuza and Haku disappeared into the thinning mist. No chase followed. Kakashi let them go. Sakura stared after them. But Sensei, Kakashi closed his Sharingan. His voice was tired. Sometimes a mission ends because continuing it would be worse. Sasuke looked at Naruto. Naruto was still standing, but his breathing had changed. Too shallow, too fast. The old posture began to crack. His shoulders lowered, his chin dropped, his knees trembled. Sakura stepped forward. Naruto, he looked at her. This time it was him, completely him, scared, exhausted. 12 years old. I'm cold, he said, then he collapsed. Kakashi caught him before he hit the bridge. For a moment, Naruto felt safe. Kakashi's arms were steady. Sakura's voice was near. Sasuke muttered something irritated, but he sounded relieved. The world smelled like wood, mist, and dust. Then Naruto slipped inward, not all the way to unconsciousness, not all the way to the throne room, somewhere between. He heard Kurama snarling, he heard the king breathing, he heard his own heartbeat, small and stubborn between them. You stopped me, Baraggan said. Naruto opened his eyes inside the dark chamber. The king sat on the throne, one hand resting against the armrest. Naruto stood before him, shaking. I stopped you from killing them. You delayed me. I stopped you. The king's eyes narrowed slightly. Naruto should have been terrified. He was. But he was also angry. Good anger still felt like his. Baraggan studied him. You are weaker than the fox. Naruto said nothing. You are younger than the fox. Still nothing. You are less ancient than I am, less powerful than I am, less fit to rule this body than either of us. Naruto lifted his chin. Then why did you stop? Silence. Far away, Kurama's growl quieted. Naruto took one step forward. You could have kept going, but you didn't. Baraggan's expression did not change, but the chamber felt colder. Naruto's voice shook, but he kept speaking. You need me. The words rang through the throne room. Kurama laughed. It was harsh and furious and delighted. Baraggan slowly turned his head toward the fox's distant cage. Careful, boy, Kurama growled, though his voice held cruel amusement. Kings hate hearing the truth. Naruto looked back at Baraggan. This is my body, he said. You can use it when I'm dying, maybe when I'm weak, but you can't keep it if I fight you. Baraggan leaned back. For the first time, Naruto saw something almost like approval in those ancient eyes. Not respect, not kindness, but interest. A prisoner? Baraggan said softly, Who has noticed the shape of his chains? Naruto clenched his fists. I'm not your prisoner. No, said the king, you are my crown. Naruto woke in Tazuna's house 2 days later. The ceiling above him was wooden and unfamiliar. For a moment he did not move, he listened. Birds outside, waves in the distance, someone chopping vegetables. Sakura's voice low and worried, Sasuke's voice quieter, Kakashi's voice unreadable. Naruto turned his head, his team sat nearby. Sakura noticed first. Naruto? This time she did not stop herself. She rushed to him and grabbed his hand. Her grip was warm. Naruto almost cried from that alone. Sasuke looked away. Took you long enough. Naruto tried to grin. It came out weak. Miss me, team? Sasuke clicked his tongue. No, Sakura sniffed. Liar. For one tiny second, Team 7 almost felt normal. Then Naruto remembered the gray breath, the mirrors turning to powder, Zabuza asking what he was, Sakura stopping before touching him. The normal moment ended. Kakashi stood near the window, arms crossed. Naruto, he said gently. How much do you remember? Naruto stared at the blanket. Enough. No one pushed. That was somehow worse. Outside, the villagers of Wave continued building the bridge. Word spread quickly, not the truth. The truth was too strange, but stories. The blonde ninja boy had defeated the masked ice user. The blonde ninja boy had scared off Gato's army. The blonde ninja boy had walked through mist and made weapons crumble. By the time Naruto could stand, the people of Wave looked at him differently, not like Konoha villagers had looked at him. There was no hatred here. That should have helped. It didn't. Their gratitude had fear inside it. Children peeked at him from behind doors. Adults bowed too deeply. Workers moved aside when he passed, not because they disliked him, but because some animal part of them remembered that the bridge beneath his feet had turned gray. Naruto hated it. He had wanted respect. This was not respect. This was distance wearing a nicer face. On the morning the bridge was completed, the whole village gathered. The sky was clear. The ocean wind smelled sharp and clean. Tazuna stood before the new sign with tears in his eyes. Inari stood beside him, trying very hard not to cry and failing in the obvious way only kids could fail. This bridge, Tazuna announced, voice rough with emotion, will carry us into a future Gato tried to steal. It exists because people fought for us when they didn't have to. His eyes moved to Team 7. Sakura smiled politely. Sasuke looked embarrassed. Kakashi gave a lazy little wave. Naruto stood still, too still. Tazuna turned toward the covered sign. So from this day forward, it will be cold. He pulled the cloth away. Fresh letters gleamed in the sunlight. The great Naruto bridge, the villagers cheered, loudly, joyfully. Naruto stared at his name for years. He had imagined something like this. Not exactly a bridge, maybe, more like a statue. A title. A Hokage hat. People cheering his name because he had finally proven he was worth seeing. Now they were cheering, and Naruto felt nothing at first. Then he felt too much. His throat tightened, his eyes burned, his hands shook. Because they had named a bridge after him, because they were grateful, because they were afraid. Because somewhere behind his heart, an ancient king looked at the sign and found it amusing. Inside, Baraggan's voice drifted through him like dry wind. They name their monuments after you. Naruto closed his eyes. The voice continued. They will be naming their graves after you next. Naruto's eyes snapped open. Shut up, he whispered. Sakura glanced at him. What? Naruto forced a smile. Nothing. But Sasuke heard. Kakashi heard too. Neither said anything. That evening, Naruto stood alone at the center of the bridge. The others were packing. They would leave for Konoha in the morning. Wave was free. The mission was complete. By every rule Naruto understood, this should have felt like victory. The water below moved gently. Naruto leaned over the railing and stared at his reflection. A blond boy looked back, blue eyes, whisker marks. Bandaged shoulder, same face, mostly. Then the water darkened for 1 second, the reflection changed. The boy became taller, older, a crown of bone rose above his brow. Behind him stood a throne made of pale stone and endings. Naruto stumbled back. The water rippled. The reflection returned to normal. He gripped the railing, breathing hard. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, he said. The ocean wind carried the words away. Inside him, Kurama growled. Inside him, Baraggan waited. Naruto said it again, louder. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. This time, the voice from the throne answered. For now, Naruto stood on the great Naruto Bridge until the sun disappeared. Behind him, the village celebrated. Before him, the water moved toward the sea. And beneath the red rage of the fox, beneath the fear of the boy, beneath the name carved into fresh wood, the old king sat upon his throne and listened to the world begin to change. Chapter 3. The FOX in the tomb, the internal war, the road back to Konoha, had never felt so quiet. That was the first thing Sakura noticed, not the cold, not the awkward distance between everyone, not even the way Kakashi-sensei kept glancing at Naruto when he thought no one was looking. The quiet. Team 7 was not supposed to be quiet. Usually, Naruto filled every empty space with noise. Complaints about hunger, boasts about becoming Hokage, arguments with Sasuke, dramatic promises that made no tactical sense but somehow made the road feel less lonely. On the way to Wave, he had complained about the mission being boring. On the way through Wave, he had shouted at Tazuna. During training, he had bragged about climbing trees like it was a sacred life achievement. Even when he was scared, Naruto made sound. But now he walked near the back of the group, hands in his pockets, head slightly lowered, eyes fixed on the road ahead. He had not complained once. Not about his wounds, not about the pace, not about being hungry, not even when Sasuke quietly ate the last rice bowl at breakfast just to see if Naruto would react. Naruto had looked at the empty wrapping, blinked once and said, "You can have it." Sasuke had stared at him like Naruto had pulled out a second head, then he had lost his appetite. Sakura walked a few steps behind Kakashi and kept glancing back. Naruto's bandages were clean. His wounds were healing. Physically, he was improving faster than he should have been, which would normally be good news. But something about the healing looked wrong. The senbon punctures were closing, yes, but the skin around a few of them remained faintly gray, not dead, not infected, just older. Sakura had checked twice when Naruto was sleeping. She told herself it was medical caution. A future Kunoichi should monitor injuries. That was responsible, but the truth was uglier. She had checked because she was scared, and she hated herself for it. Naruto had saved them. Whatever had happened inside that ice dome, whatever had stood up through him, the result was simple. Sasuke was alive. Kakashi was alive. Sakura was alive. Tazuna was alive. Wave Country was free, so why did looking at Naruto make her chest feel tight? Why did every bird go quiet when he passed beneath a branch? Why did the grass beside the road seem duller after his sandals brushed near it? Sakura forced herself to look forward. Kakashi had noticed too. Of course he had. Their sensei walked with his usual lazy posture, book tucked away for once, visible eye half-lidded. To someone else, he might have looked relaxed. Sakura knew better now. Kakashi-sensei was watching everything, the road, the trees, the shadows, Sasuke's injuries, Naruto's hands. Especially Naruto's hands. Naruto's fingers twitched sometimes, like he was reaching for something that wasn't there. Other times they went perfectly still, too still, hanging at his sides like they belonged to a statue. Sasuke watched too, he pretended not to. That was Sasuke's main hobby, pretending not to do things he was obviously doing, but his eyes kept sliding toward Naruto. Not with jealousy this time, not with annoyance, with calculation and something beneath it, not fear exactly, frustration. Sasuke Uchiha hated mysteries he could not overpower. Naruto had become one overnight. The first day of travel passed without incident. That somehow made it worse. No bandits, no enemy ninja. No sudden attacks from revenge-driven mercenaries. Only trees, dirt road, wind, and silence. By evening, they stopped near a narrow river cutting through the forest. Kakashi chose a clearing with good visibility, set the watch order, and told them to rest. Normally, Naruto would have demanded the first watch just to prove he could do it, then fallen asleep 5 minutes in. This time, he sat by the river and stared at the water. Sakura watched him from beside the small fire. The flames should have painted Naruto in warm orange. They didn't. The light reached him, but it seemed thinner around his shoulders, like warmth had to ask permission before touching him. Sasuke sat across from Sakura, sharpening a kunai he didn't need to sharpen. "You're staring," he said. Sakura flinched. "I'm not." "You are." "So are you." Sasuke's hand stopped. For a second, neither of them spoke. Then Sakura asked quietly, "What did you see inside the mirrors?" Sasuke resumed sharpening the kunai, his face closed. "Enough." "That's not an answer. It's the only one I have." Sakura looked toward Naruto again. He sounded different. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. He was different. The fire cracked. Kakashi stood on a branch above them, pretending not to listen. No one believed him. Near the river, Naruto lowered one hand toward the water. His fingers hovered just above the surface. He wanted to touch it. He also didn't. His reflection looked normal. That made him trust it less. After Wave, mirrors had become dangerous. Water had become worse. Because water moved, it changed. It told the truth only long enough to make lying more cruel. Naruto stared at his face, whisker marks, blue eyes, messy blonde hair, same as always. "Say it," he told himself. His lips parted. "I'm Naruto Uzumaki." The reflection stared back. Behind his ribs, the seal pulsed. Far below it, something answered with silence. That silence was not empty. Naruto hated it more than Kurama's rage. The fox had always felt like a storm behind a door. Terrifying, yes, but simple. Rage was honest. Rage wanted to break things. Rage announced itself. This new thing did not rage, it waited. Naruto touched the water. The effect was instant. A small circle around his fingertip went still, not frozen, still. The current continued around it, but that one patch of water flattened, dulled, and lost the sparkle of moonlight. Tiny leaves caught in the current brushed against the circle and darkened at the edges. Naruto yanked his hand back. The water flowed normally again, but the leaves remained gray. He stared at his finger. No wound, no pain, just a faint cold under the skin. "Naruto," he turned. Kakashi stood several feet behind him. The man had made no sound crossing the clearing. Normally, Naruto would have jumped and shouted at him for sneaking around. Now he only lowered his hand. "Kakashi-sensei." Kakashi's visible eye moved to the river, then back to Naruto. "Can't sleep?" Naruto looked away. "Don't want to." Kakashi walked to the riverbank and sat beside him, not too close, not too far. A careful distance. Naruto noticed. Kakashi noticed him noticing. That made both of them feel worse. For a while, neither spoke. The river filled the silence. Finally, Kakashi said, "You scared them." Naruto's shoulders went tight. "I know. I don't just mean Sakura and Sasuke." Naruto gave a weak laugh. It sounded nothing like him. "The villagers. The enemies, too." Naruto stared at the water. "Good, right?" Kakashi did not answer quickly. That was how Naruto knew the answer was bad. "Sometimes fear ends a fight," Kakashi said. "Sometimes it starts future ones." Naruto swallowed. "I didn't mean to do it." "I believe you." Those 3 words hit Naruto harder than expected. He looked at Kakashi. "You do?" Kakashi's eyes softened. "Yes." Naruto's throat tightened because Kakashi believed him, and because Kakashi was still afraid. Both things were true at once. That was the part Naruto didn't know what to do with. "What happened to me?" Naruto asked. Kakashi looked at the river. "I don't know." Naruto waited for more. There wasn't any. His stomach dropped. Kakashi Hatake, the copy ninja, the elite jonin, the man who always acted like he had at least 3 backup plans and 1 secret backup plan for the backup plans, did not know. Naruto hugged his knees. "There's something under the fox." Kakashi went very still. Naruto noticed that too. "You know about it," Naruto said. Kakashi's silence answered before his words did. "I know about the fox," Kakashi said carefully. Naruto laughed once bitter, "So everyone knew except me." Kakashi closed his eye. "Naruto, don't!" Naruto's voice cracked. "Just don't do that thing where adults sound sad so they don't have to explain." Kakashi's mouth closed. The river moved. Sakura pretended not to be listening from the fire. Sasuke did not even bother pretending anymore. Naruto kept his eyes down. "I figured it out," he said. "Not all of it, but enough. There's a fox. It's angry. It hates me. Or maybe everyone. I don't know, but it's not the thing from the bridge." Kakashi said nothing. Naruto's fingers dug into his sleeves. "The fox feels hot, like anger, like teeth. This other thing feels—" He searched for the word and failed several times. Old. Kakashi's gaze sharpened. Naruto whispered, "It has a throne." The forest seemed to go quiet around them. Even Sasuke stopped breathing for a second. Kakashi kept his voice calm. "You saw it," Naruto nodded. "In my head, under everything. There's a room, stone, gray, a throne, and there's a man sitting on it." "A man?" Naruto's face tightened. "No, not a man." The correction came too quickly, too instinctively, as if something inside him objected to being misnamed. Kakashi watched him closely. Naruto pressed a palm against his stomach. "He called me a vessel." Sakura covered her mouth near the fire. Sasuke's eyes narrowed. Kakashi's expression did not change, but something in his posture hardened. "Naruto," he said gently, "has he spoken to you since the bridge?" Naruto nodded. "Sometimes." "What does he say?" Naruto hesitated, then he looked at the river again. "He says I aimed too low." Kakashi frowned. "With what?" Naruto's voice became very small, being Hokage. No one said anything after that. Because there were cruel things enemies said to hurt people, and then there were cruel things that slipped past armor because they sounded almost true. Naruto Uzumaki had built himself around a dream, not because the dream was simple, because without it, who was he? A lonely boy in an empty apartment, a bad student, a prankster, a Jinchuriki, a vessel. If Hokage was aiming too low, then what did that make the boy who had used it to survive? Kakashi reached out slowly and placed a hand on Naruto's shoulder. Naruto flinched, not because Kakashi hurt him, because for a second the air between them grew cold. Kakashi felt it, his fingers stiffened, then Naruto forced the cold down. "I'm sorry," Naruto said quickly. "I didn't mean, I know." Kakashi did not remove his hand, that mattered. Naruto stared at the ground and tried very hard not to cry. Inside him, far below the warmth of that hand, the throne room waited. That night Naruto dreamed, or maybe he sank. He opened his eyes to darkness and the sound of water dripping somewhere far away. For one hopeful second he thought he was in the sewer. He was not. The sewer was there, but distant. He could feel it like a place behind a wall, the massive gate, the red eyes, the fox's rage boiling through iron bars, but around it now stood something else. A tomb had grown around the cage. No, not a tomb, a throne room. Naruto stood at the center of it. The floor was smooth gray stone, cracked in patterns that looked almost like dried riverbeds. Pillars rose into blackness. Old banners hung from the ceiling, too faded to show symbols, though Naruto somehow knew they had once meant conquest. At the far end sat the throne. And on the throne sat Baraggan Louisenbairn. Naruto knew the name now. He did not remember learning it. That made it worse. The name sat in his mind like a bone he had swallowed. Baraggan, God, king, sovereign, death by patience. Naruto hated every part of it. The king was massive. Broad, still, robed in pale cloth that looked untouched by dust, despite everything around him being ancient. His beard was silver. His face was lined not by weakness, but by time choosing to leave proof of itself. On his head sat the beginning of a crown, not fully formed yet, but visible now, pale bone rising in short, jagged spurs. Naruto looked at it and felt sick. That wasn't there before. Baraggan's eyes lowered to him. "No. Why is it there now?" "Because I am." Naruto clenched his fists. "That's not an answer." "It is the only answer that matters." A roar shook the chamber. Naruto turned. Beyond the throne room, a corridor opened into the sewer of the seal. Red light spilled from it. Massive claws scraped against metal. Kurama's eyes burned in the dark behind the gate. The fox was furious, more furious than Naruto had ever felt him. But beneath the fury was something strange, not fear. Kurama would probably bite anyone who called it fear, but awareness. He understood the new presence, and he hated understanding it. "You!" Kurama snarled. Baraggan did not look at him. That made the fox angrier. "Look at me when I speak, Corpse King!" Naruto winced at the volume. Baraggan rested one hand against the throne's armrest. "You mistake volume for authority." Kurama slammed both paws into the gate. The entire sewer shook. "This body is mine." Naruto spun toward him. "Hey!" Kurama ignored him. "My chakra feeds it. My power shaped it. My presence defined the brat from birth. You are nothing but a squatter in a cage that was already occupied. For the first time, Baraggan turned his head slowly. That slow movement made the chamber colder. A prisoner, Baraggan said, claiming ownership of a prison. Kurama's lips peeled back from his teeth. I am the Nine Tails. Yes, Baraggan sounded deeply unimpressed, a beast of chakra, a weapon bred from divided divinity, a tantrum given tails. The fox went still. Naruto felt the temperature of the mindscape change, not colder, hotter. Kurama's rage pressed against the chamber like a red sun. You know nothing of me. Baraggan stood. The movement was not sudden. It did not need to be. When he rose from the throne, the whole room seemed to remember who it belonged to. I know what you are, Baraggan said. You are rage given form, power without patience, heat without duration. You burn because burning is all you understand. Kurama growled low. Baraggan stepped down from the dais. Naruto instinctively stepped back. The king did not look at him. You believe yourself ancient because men fear you, Baraggan continued, because villages tremble when your name is spoken, because a child's life was built around containing your fury. He stopped at the edge of the sewer corridor. The red light and gray darkness met between them. I was a king before your world learned to kneel. Kurama's chakra surged. The gate groaned. Naruto staggered. Red chakra flooded the sewer, crashing against the edges of the throne room like boiling water against stone. It should have swallowed everything. Instead, the gray stone drank the heat, not all of it, enough. Steam hissed from cracks in the floor. Kurama's eyes narrowed. Baraggan lifted one hand. Exhaust yourself. The words were quiet. The fox's chakra recoiled as if struck. Naruto felt it then. Not a battle like fists meeting fists. A conflict of rules. Kurama's power was enormous, alive, violent. It wanted to flood, overwhelm, tear through resistance. Baraggan's power did not push back in the same way. It waited for the flood to become old. The clash made Naruto's mind ache. He dropped to one knee, clutching his head. Stop it! Neither listened. Kurama roared. Baraggan's eyes sharpened. The stone cracked. The gate rattled. Naruto's body, far away in the real world, began to shiver in his sleep. At the campsite, Sakura woke first. Something was wrong with the air. The fire had gone low, but not out. Moonlight silvered the clearing. Sasuke slept sitting upright against a tree, though his hand was already near a kunai. Kakashi was on watch above, unmoving. Naruto lay near the fire, wrapped in a blanket. Frost had formed on the grass around him, only around him. Naruto, Sakura whispered. The frost spread 1 inch, then another. A fallen leaf beside his hand curled and darkened, its edges going brittle. Sakura's breath caught Kakashi-sensei. Kakashi was beside Naruto before Sakura finished saying his name. Sasuke woke and stood in the same motion. What happened? Kakashi crouched near Naruto but did not touch him yet. Naruto's face twisted in pain. His eyes moved beneath closed lids. His breathing came too fast. The frost around him thickened. This is internal, Kakashi said. Sakura's medical training was still basic, but even she understood the problem. How do we wake him? Kakashi's jaw tightened, carefully. Sasuke stared at the gray leaf near Naruto's hand, and if careful doesn't work. Kakashi did not answer. Inside the mindscape, Naruto forced himself to his feet. Stop! This time, something in his voice cracked through the chamber. Not power, not chakra, will. Both ancient beings paused. Kurama's eyes shifted toward him. Baraggan turned. Naruto stood between the sewer corridor and the throne, small, shaking, terrified, and furious enough to survive both. This is my body, Naruto shouted. Mine, not yours, not his, Kurama snarled. You think saying that makes it true, brat? No, Naruto snapped. But you both fighting inside me is going to tear me apart. That landed, because it was true. Naruto felt it in his bones. If Kurama pushed too hard, if Baraggan answered fully, the body outside would not survive being the battlefield. Baraggan studied him. You perceive more quickly than expected. Naruto glared. Don't talk like I'm a bug. You are not a bug. That surprised him. Baraggan's eyes narrowed faintly. You are territory. Naruto's anger flared hotter. I'm a person, Kurama laughed darkly. a person with two monsters in his gut. Naruto turned on him. And you're one of them, so shut up. The fox blinked. For one ridiculous second, Kurama looked genuinely offended. Baraggan's mouth curved barely. Naruto saw it and pointed at him. You shut up too! The smile faded. Good, that made Naruto feel a little better. The chamber settled into a tense silence. Naruto breathed hard. I don't know what either of you want, he said. I don't know why you're here. I don't know why the fourth sealed the fox in me, and I definitely don't know why there's an old king under him. Kurama's eyes flashed. Old king? Baraggan ignored him. Naruto pressed a hand to his chest. But you can't just take turns using me. Baraggan's voice lowered. You would have died without me. Naruto swallowed. I know, that truth hurt. He forced himself to say the next part anyway, and I'm grateful. Kurama made a disgusted noise. Baraggan went very still. Naruto lifted his eyes. But saving me doesn't make me yours. The throne room did not shake. No dramatic explosion followed, but the words changed the air. They were not powerful enough to defeat Baraggan, not even close. But they marked a boundary, a small one. A child drawing a line in front of a king. Baraggan looked at that invisible line for a long moment, then he returned to his throne. You may wake, he said. Naruto frowned. What? You may wake, Baraggan repeated. Before your teacher makes the mistake of touching what he does not understand. Naruto's eyes widened. The throne room vanished. Naruto woke with a gasp. Kakashi's hand hovered inches above his shoulder. Don't! Naruto shouted. Kakashi froze. The frost around Naruto cracked and melted. Sakura let out a breath that sounded almost like a sob. Sasuke's grip loosened on his kunai. Naruto sat up, breathing hard, sweat cold on his forehead. For several seconds, no one spoke. Then Naruto looked at the blackened leaf beside his hand. Oh, he whispered. Sakura knelt in front of him. Naruto, are you okay? He almost said yes. The old Naruto would have. The word rose automatically. Easy. Familiar. A lie worn smooth from use, but Naruto thought of the throne room, of Kurama's rage, of Baraggan's cold eyes, of Kakashi's hand almost touching the field. No, Naruto said. The clearing went quiet. Naruto looked at his team. I'm not okay. Sakura's eyes filled with tears. Sasuke looked away sharply. Kakashi's face softened in a way Naruto had rarely seen. Thank you for telling us. Naruto laughed weakly. That's a weird thing to thank someone for. Not really. Kakashi sat down across from him, not as a jonin giving orders, as a teacher choosing to stay. We'll get you home, he said. Then we'll figure out what we can. Naruto hugged the blanket around himself. And if you can't, Kakashi did not lie. Naruto respected him for that and hated him for it. Then we figure out what we can after that. The answer was terrible. It was also the only honest one anyone had given him. Naruto nodded. They did not sleep much after that. By morning, Kakashi had made a decision. He sent a message ahead, not by normal courier, a summon. The small Ninken appeared in a puff of smoke near the road, ears twitching, nose immediately turning toward Naruto. The dog froze. Every hair along its back rose. Naruto looked away. Kakashi noticed and pretended not to. He crouched and tied a sealed report to the Ninken's vest. Take this directly to the Hokage, Kakashi said. No delays, no intermediaries, the Ninken swallowed. Yes, boss. Its eyes flicked to Naruto again, then it vanished. Naruto watched the smoke fade. What did you tell him? Kakashi stood. The truth. Sasuke snorted quietly. You know the truth? Kakashi looked at him. I know what I saw. That ended the conversation. The report traveled faster than Team 7 through forest, over road, past patrol routes into Konoha. It reached the Hokage's office before sunset. Hiruzen Sarutobi sat alone when the message arrived. The old man had been Hokage long enough to know that some reports felt heavy before they were opened. This one felt like stone. He unsealed it. Kakashi's handwriting was precise, clinical, controlled. That made it worse. Mission status. Successful. Client survived. Bridge completed. Gato's forces routed. Zabuza Mamachi and Haku survived engagement and withdrew. Pursuit not advised due to anomalous conditions surrounding Uzumaki Naruto. Hiruzen's eyes sharpened. He read on. Kakashi described the ice dome. The expected Nine Tails chakra emergence, its sudden suppression. The appearance of gray spiritual pressure. The decay of Haku's mirrors. The destruction of metal senbon before contact. The aging of organic and inorganic matter inside an expanding field. The temporary alteration of Naruto's voice, posture, and personality. The inability of the Sharingan to categorize the energy signature. Kakashi used the phrase chakra adjacent 6 times. Each time, Hiruzen liked it less. He read the section about Zabuza's arm twice, then the section about the mercenaries, then the final note. Subject reports an internal chamber beneath the known 9 tails seal architecture. Subject reports an entity seated on a throne. Subject distinguishes this entity from the 9 tails by sensation, voice, and intent. Subject describes it as old. Recommendation: immediate private evaluation by Hokage. Avoid standard Jinchuriki suppression protocols until more is understood. Chakra suppression may not affect the anomaly and may provoke it. Hiruzen lowered the paper. The office was silent. Outside, Konoha continued as always. Children ran along streets. Shinobi returned from missions. Merchants shouted prices. Leaves moved in warm wind. The village lived, unaware that a report had just split the world into before and after. Hiruzen folded the paper carefully, then unfolded it and read it again. He lit his pipe. He did not smoke. The tobacco burned while he stared at nothing. Memories rose unbidden. Minato's face. Kushina's laughter, the night of the 9 tails, the ceiling, the body of a newborn child carrying the weight of a village survival. Hiruzen had accepted many terrible things as necessary. That was one of the curses of being Hokage. You learned to dress cruelty in the robes of duty. You learned to tell yourself there had been no other choice. Sometimes that was true, sometimes it only had to be true enough to let you sleep. But this, there had been no second entity, he was certain. As certain as an old man could be about a night filled with death, smoke, blood, and impossible decisions. Minato had sealed the 9 tails. Only the 9 tails, so either Kakashi was wrong, or something had been inside Naruto before the seal. Hiruzen's hand tightened around the report. The paper creased. He whispered one word, Minato. There was no answer, only the quiet crackle of burning tobacco. On the road, Naruto sneezed. Sakura glanced at him. You cold? Naruto almost laughed. Maybe. Sasuke walked ahead with his hands in his pockets. Try not to turn the road into dust. Sakura rounded on him. Sasuke-kun, Naruto blinked. Then, unexpectedly, he laughed. It was small, rough, but real. Sasuke did not turn around. His shoulders relaxed by half an inch. Sakura saw it. Kakashi saw it. Naruto did not. For a few minutes, the road felt almost normal, almost. Then they passed a patch of flowers growing beside a milestone. Yellow petals, bright, stubborn. Naruto looked at them as he walked by. One petal wilted, only one. No one else noticed. Naruto did. His laughter died. That night he did not sleep deeply enough to dream, but he heard them. Kurama paced behind his gate, claws clicking against unseen stone. Baraggan sat in silence. Naruto floated between them, not in the sewer and not in the throne room. A corridor now connected both places. That was new. He hated that too. Kurama spoke first. Brat! Naruto did not answer. I know you're listening. Go away. I live here. Naruto sighed. Even in his own head, he couldn't get privacy. Kurama's eyes glowed behind the distant bars. You think the old corpse is your biggest problem? Naruto opened his eyes in the dark corridor. Isn't he? Kurama's teeth flashed. No. From the throne room, Baraggan's voice drifted like dust. How desperate. Warning the boy now, Kurama ignored him. He wants to hollow you out slowly, the fox said. Not all at once, that's why you should be afraid. Naruto's stomach tightened. Baraggan did not deny it. That was its own answer. Kurama continued. I would break the cage, flood you with chakra, and burn everything in my way. You understand that. You can fight that. You can hate that. Naruto looked toward the throne room, and him, Kurama's voice lowered. He will make you agree. The corridor went cold. Naruto hugged himself. Baraggan spoke calmly. Agreement is what lesser beings call surrender when they wish to keep dignity. Naruto turned toward the gray chamber. I'm not surrendering." "No," Baraggan said. "Not yet." Naruto woke before dawn. He did not wake screaming. That scared him more. He simply opened his eyes and stared at the sky through the branches. Not yet. The words stayed with him all day. When the gates of Konoha finally appeared, Naruto expected to feel relief. Home, the village, the place he had shouted about defending, ruling, proving himself to. The Hokage monument watched over the walls. Naruto used to love seeing those stone faces. They had always felt like a promise. One day his face would be there too. One day everyone would have to look up. One day no one could ignore him. Now he looked at the monument and felt distance. Not dislike, not even sadness, distance, as if the dream belonged to someone walking several steps behind him, a younger boy, a louder boy, a boy who had not yet seen a throne beneath his soul. Naruto stopped walking. Sakura noticed first. "Naruto," he stared at the fourth Hokage's face. He did not know why that one hurt most. Maybe because the fourth had saved the village. Maybe because the fourth had sealed the fox inside him. Maybe because part of Naruto still felt like that stone face owed him an explanation. Kakashi came to stand beside him. "We're going directly to the Hokage." Naruto nodded. He kept looking at the monument. Inside, Baraggan stirred a mountain with faces. Naruto's hands curled. "Don't!" "Such small kings," Baraggan said. Naruto closed his eyes. Behind another gate, Kurama growled. For once, Naruto agreed with the fox's anger. "Shut up," Naruto whispered. Sakura looked worried. Sasuke pretended not to. Kakashi said nothing. Team 7 entered Konoha under a bright afternoon sky. No one cheered. No one knew what had happened. But as Naruto passed beneath the gate, one of the Chunin guards frowned, not in recognition, not in hatred. He rubbed his arms as if a cold breeze had touched him. Naruto saw it, and understood with a sinking certainty that wave had only been the beginning. Inside the Hokage tower, Hiruzen Sarutobi waited with Kakashi's report folded on his desk. He had read it 7 times. He still did not know what he was going to say. Outside his door, footsteps approached, 4 sets. Kakashi's calm stride, Sakura's careful steps, Sasuke's controlled pace, Naruto's uneven one. The old Hokage looked at the report one last time, then he placed it in a drawer. The door opened. Team 7 entered. Naruto stood at the center, bandaged, tired, and too quiet. Hiruzen looked at the boy he had promised to protect. For one terrible second, he did not see Naruto. He saw Minato's sacrifice, Kushina's chains, the Nine-Tails' eye. And behind all of it, something gray and ancient sitting where no child's soul should have had room for a throne. Naruto looked up at him. "Old man," he said softly. The familiar address should have warmed the room. It didn't, because Naruto's voice held a question now. And Hiruzen knew he did not have enough answers. Chapter 4. The Crown of Bone, the Death of the Will of Fire. Konoha noticed Naruto's silence before it noticed anything else. That was strange, because Konoha had spent years wishing Naruto would be quiet. He was the boy who shouted at sunrise. The boy who painted the Hokage monument because nobody would look at him otherwise. The boy who declared war on boredom, rules, and any adult foolish enough to say, "Naruto, don't touch that." His laughter used to bounce through the market streets like a thrown kunai. His complaints used to echo from Ikaraku Ramen. His promises used to be too big for his body. "I'm going to be Hokage. Everyone's gonna respect me. Believe it." People had rolled their eyes, muttered insults, closed windows, pulled children aside. Then Naruto came back from Wave Country. And the shouting stopped. At first, the village almost enjoyed it. The baker near the East Road told his wife that maybe the academy had finally beaten discipline into the boy. The vegetable seller said maybe real missions had scared the nonsense out of him. A retired Chunin muttered that combat had a way of teaching loud children the value of silence. But by the end of the first week, people stopped making jokes, because Naruto's silence was not embarrassment. It was not maturity. It was not the tired quiet of a child who had learned one hard lesson and was still digesting it. It was older than that. Naruto walked through Konoha like someone passing through ruins that had not realized they were ruins yet. He still wore orange. He still had blonde hair. He still had whisker marks and bright blue eyes, but he watched things now, not stared. Watched, as if every person, every shop, every roof tile, every carved stone face above the village had been placed in front of him for assessment. He did not glare. He did not threaten. He did not smile much either. That was what made people uncomfortable. The old Naruto had been easy to hate because he had wanted something from them: attention, approval, a reaction. The new Naruto seemed to want nothing. And there are few things more unsettling to cruel people than realizing the person they used to hurt has stopped needing them. Iruka Umino noticed first. He told himself that was natural. He had known Naruto longer than most. He had taught him, scolded him, fed him, watched him fail transformation practice with dramatic confidence, and somehow still leave class convinced tomorrow would be his victory. Iruka knew Naruto's noise better than anyone. So when Naruto entered the academy training yard for the first post-mission evaluation and said nothing, Iruka felt the change like a missing tooth. The other genin were gathered in loose groups. Kiba was laughing too loudly. Shikamaru was pretending to sleep against a fence. Choji ate chips with solemn focus. Ino complained about the dust on her sandals. Sakura stood beside Sasuke, glancing at Naruto when she thought nobody noticed. Hinata stood near the back, fingers pressed together, eyes lowered. Naruto arrived last. Normally, he would have made an entrance. A jump from the fence, a shouted declaration, a complaint about being hungry. Instead, he walked through the gate, nodded once to Iruka and stood alone, not beside Sakura, not beside Sasuke, alone. Iruka's throat tightened. "Naruto," he called, forcing warmth into his voice. "Feeling ready?" Naruto looked at him. For a moment, Iruka saw the boy he remembered, tired, confused, trying. Then Naruto's eyes settled, not hardened, settled. "Yes, Iruka-sensei." The respectful answer hit Iruka like a slap. Kiba blinked. "Whoa, since when does Naruto talk like that?" Naruto did not respond. That made Kiba look even more disturbed than if Naruto had shouted. Iruka cleared his throat. "Today is a basic evaluation, nothing complicated. Clone technique, transformation, substitution, written tactical response, and sparring forms." He expected Naruto to groan at the written section. Naruto didn't, he simply listened. That was the moment Iruka began to feel afraid, not of Naruto. For him, the clone technique came first. Naruto stepped forward when called. Iruka tried to keep his expression neutral. The academy version of Naruto could barely produce one sickly, half-melted clone. Even after graduation, his control had always been uneven. Huge chakra reserves, poor refinement. That was Naruto, a boy with too much power and not enough shape. Naruto formed the hand sign. Clone technique. Two Narutos appeared beside him, perfect, not shadow clones, ordinary academy clones. Clean, stable, correctly formed. Iruka stared. The clones stared back. One blinked. Naruto released the technique. A few genin whispered. Sakura's face tightened with concern rather than pride. Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Iruka forced a smile. "Good, very good." Naruto nodded and stepped back. No cheer, no grin. "No, did you see that, Iruka-sensei?" Nothing. Transformation was next. Naruto became Iruka, not the exaggerated prank version with stupid eyebrows and a ridiculous expression. A perfect Iruka, same posture, same scar, same tired eyes. Iruka felt a chill. Because the transformation was not just physically accurate, it carried weight. Naruto had observed him too carefully. He had captured the way Iruka kept one shoulder slightly tense from an old injury. The way his left hand drifted toward his vest pocket when he was nervous. The way his smile lifted more on one side when he was trying not to worry. Naruto released the transformation. Iruka wrote a note on his clipboard, then stopped. His hand hovered over the paper. What was he supposed to write? Improved control, significant tactical growth. Emotional flattening following trauma, he wrote. Monitor closely, then hated how useless that sounded. The written tactical section was worse. Naruto sat at a desk in the academy classroom, pencil in hand, and answered every question, not quickly, not frantically. He read each one once, paused, then wrote. Uruka walked behind him, expecting guesses. Instead, he found correct answers, not just correct, efficient, a question about retreat patterns under superior enemy numbers. Naruto's answer was short, practical, and cold. A question about defending a civilian target with limited manpower. Naruto identified the obvious route, the secondary route, and the psychological pressure point needed to force attackers to choose one. A question about battlefield morale. Naruto wrote, "Fear spreads faster than orders when men cannot explain what they are seeing." Uruka stared at that sentence for a long time. After the evaluation, he asked Naruto to stay behind. The classroom emptied slowly. Sasuke looked at Naruto once before leaving. Sakura hesitated, then followed. When they were alone, Uruka sat on the edge of his desk. Naruto stood in front of him, hands in pockets, exactly like a student awaiting punishment, and nothing like it. "I heard the wave mission was difficult," Uruka said. Naruto nodded. It was. Uruka waited. Naruto offered nothing more. "What happened out there?" Naruto's eyes lowered. "We completed the mission." That answer hurt, not because it was rude, because it was something Kakashi would say. Uruka softened his voice. "Naruto, you know you can talk to me." For a second, Naruto's face shifted, the mask cracked. Loneliness showed through, then he looked away. "I know." "But you won't." Naruto's fingers curled inside his pockets. "I don't know how." Uruka had no prepared response for that. Naruto looked toward the window. Outside, the village moved in the afternoon light. Children ran along the road. A woman carried groceries. A pair of Chunin laughed on a rooftop. Naruto watched them as if they were farther away than the window could explain. "I used to think," Naruto said slowly, "that if people finally saw me, everything would get better." Uruka's chest tightened. Naruto continued. "In Wave, they saw me." His voice dropped. "It didn't feel better." Uruka stood. Naruto, the boy, looked back at him. The room grew cold only slightly, but enough that Uruka saw his own breath for half a second. Naruto's eyes widened. He stepped back. "I'm sorry." The warmth returned. Uruka pretended his heart was not hammering. "It's okay." "No, it's not." Naruto said it plainly. No drama, no shouting, just truth. That frightened Uruka more than any outburst could have. Naruto left a minute later. Uruka remained in the empty classroom until sunset, staring at his notes. Then he pulled out a second sheet and began writing a private report, not to the academy, to the Hokage. He wrote slowly, carefully. He did not use the word monster, not once. He used the word child 7 times. Hinata Hyuga saw the gray inside him on a Thursday morning. It happened during a joint training session near the southern practice fields. The Rookie 9 had been gathered for formation drills. Mostly, it was an excuse for the Jonin instructors to compare team progress before Chunin exam registration opened. Kurenai watched Team 8. Asuma watched Team 10. Kakashi arrived late with Team 7 and acted like this was somehow natural law. Naruto said nothing about Kakashi being late. That alone made Shikamaru open one eye. "Troublesome," he muttered. Kiba leaned toward him. "Is it just me, or is Naruto acting creepy?" Shikamaru looked at Naruto. The blonde stood beside Sakura and Sasuke, arms loose at his sides, eyes on the field. "Not just you." Hinata heard them and lowered her gaze. Her fingers pressed together. Naruto-kun, she had watched him longer than anyone knew, not in a strange way, not like a spy. She had watched because Naruto did what she could not. He got back up loudly. Every time the village looked at him like he was something dirty, he shouted louder. Every time he failed, he promised victory. Every time people turned away, he made himself impossible to ignore. Hinata had admired that. Needed it, maybe, but now Naruto did not shout, he stood still. And stillness did not suit him. During paired movement drills, Hinata activated her Byakugan. The world sharpened into pathways, pressure points, chakra flows, hidden motion. She glanced toward Kiba first. His chakra was bright, energetic, wild around the edges. Akamaru's smaller network burned beside him like a warm little flame. Shino's chakra was controlled and layered, insects moving through it in subtle patterns. Sakura's was clean and careful. Sasuke's was sharp, intense, with a dark heaviness where the curse mark had not yet come but ambition already lived. Then Hinata looked at Naruto. She almost screamed. His chakra pathways were there. That should have comforted her. They were intact. Strong. Vast. The familiar enormous reserves moved through him like deep water under pressure. But threaded through the blue was gray, not color exactly, texture. Chakra was life. Motion. Heat. Even when corrupted, even when violent, it had vitality. The gray inside Naruto did not move like life. It sat within the flow like ash in a river, not blocking, not mixing fully, waiting. And beneath it, Hinata's Byakugan pushed deeper by instinct. For one terrible second, she saw three shapes layered inside him. Naruto at the surface, small and bright and flickering. A massive red presence behind bars, pacing, furious, and under both a throne. Hinata cut off her Byakugan so suddenly pain flashed behind her eyes. Kurenai noticed. Hinata lowered her head. I'm fine. You're pale. I used too much focus. Kurenai looked unconvinced, but the drill continued. Hinata did not look at Naruto with the Byakugan again. Not that day. That evening she packed 2 rice bowls, a small container of grilled fish, and a sweet bun from the Hyuga kitchen. She waited until no one noticed. Then she walked to Naruto's apartment. She did not knock. She placed the food outside his door and stepped away. Halfway down the hall she stopped. Behind the door she heard movement, a pause, then Naruto's voice, soft. Thank you. Hinata's face warmed. She almost ran. Inside the apartment, Naruto stood with one hand on the doorknob. He had known she was there. He did not know how. He looked down at the food, his stomach twisted with hunger. But for a moment he only stared. Someone had left him food, not because he had begged, not because he had tricked them. Not because he had forced the village to look at him. Because Hinata had seen something terrible and chosen kindness anyway. Naruto picked up the container carefully. Inside him, Baraggan stirred. Pity, Naruto's jaw tightened. No, he ate every bite. And for once, the food tasted like something. The village's fear grew slowly. That made it harder to fight. If people had shouted, Naruto could have shouted back. If they had thrown things, he could have dodged. If they had called him monster, he could have hated them cleanly. But this was quieter. A shopkeeper's smile freezing when Naruto entered, a mother guiding her child to the other side of the street, a dog going silent as he passed, old men rubbing their hands against a sudden chill, flowers on a windowsill drooping after Naruto paused too long beside them. No one could prove anything. No one wanted to ask. Rumors started anyway, not the old ones about the fox, new ones. The demon brat came back wrong. He killed a whole army in wave. He can rot wood by touching it. He made a missing nin bow. The 9 tails is changing. Some of the rumors were ridiculous. Some were too close. Naruto heard them all. He had always heard whispers. People forgot that lonely children learned to listen. He knew how to catch words from behind closed doors, how to read faces turned away too quickly, how to understand silence. The difference was that now the whispers hurt less. That scared him. Anger would have been better. Sadness would have been better. Instead, he felt distance. Like the villagers were insects crawling along the floor of a palace. When that thought first came to him, Naruto stopped walking in the middle of the market. His hands went cold. That had not been his thought. Not entirely. Inside, the throne room was silent, which meant Baraggan was listening. Naruto turned around and went home. He did not buy ramen that day. At Ikaraku, Chuchai noticed. On the 3rd day Naruto failed to appear, the old man packed a bowl himself and carried it to Naruto's apartment. Iame insisted on coming. They found Naruto sitting on the rooftop, knees pulled to his chest, looking at the Hokage monument. Chuchai climbed the stairs with more effort than he admitted. "Oi," he called. "You planning to make me lose my best customer?" Naruto turned. For 1 second his face brightened, actually brightened. "Old man Chuchai," Iame smiled. "We brought emergency medicine." Naruto blinked. She lifted the ramen. He laughed. It was small, but it was Naruto's laugh. Chuchai sat beside him without asking. Iame handed him the bowl. Naruto accepted it with both hands. Steam curled upward, warm, ordinary, safe. He ate slowly at first, then faster. Chuchai pretended not to look relieved. I-Aim watched him with gentle eyes. People have been saying things, she said. Naruto's chopsticks paused. Chuchai frowned. I-Aim, no. Naruto said, it's okay. I-Aim sat on his other side. They're scared because they don't understand. Naruto stared into the broth. Are you scared? Chuchai answered before I-Aim could. Yes. Naruto went very still. Chuchai looked at him directly. I'm old enough not to lie to children and call it kindness. Naruto's throat tightened. Chuchai continued. I'm scared because something hurt you and I don't know how to help. I'm scared because you look like you're carrying a mountain alone. I'm scared because the village is very good at turning scared into cruel. Naruto looked up. Chuchai's voice softened. But I am not scared of feeding you. I-Aim nodded, or sitting with you. The bowl trembled in Naruto's hands. For several seconds, he could not speak. Inside, Baraggan said nothing. Kurama, surprisingly, said nothing too. Naruto ate the ramen before it got cold. That night, Hiruzen Sarutobi summoned Kakashi. The Hokage's office smelled of pipe smoke, old paper, and decisions that had outlived the men who made them. Kakashi entered through the window. Hiruzen did not comment. That meant he was worried. You have been watching him, Hiruzen said. Kakashi stood before the desk. Yes. And, Kakashi took a breath, he is still Naruto. Hiruzen's eyes sharpened. You said that first. I needed to. The old Hokage leaned back. Then say the rest. Kakashi's hand flexed once. He is changing. His control has improved beyond expectation. His emotional responses are muted, except when directly reminded of personal bonds. He reports internal communication with both the Nine Tails and the second entity. Has the second entity given a name? Kakashi hesitated. Naruto hasn't told me one. Hiruzen noticed the phrasing. You think he knows? I think he knows more than he wants to. Silence settled. Hiruzen looked toward the window. The Hokage monument was visible in the distance, pale under moonlight. Standard Jinchuriki containment? Kakashi's voice hardened. No, the answer came too quickly. Hiruzen looked back at him. Kakashi continued. The entity is not chakra-based, at least not fully. Suppression seals designed for the Nine Tails may agitate the fox, weaken Naruto, and leave the other presence unchallenged. You sound certain. I'm not, Kakashi said. That's why I'm saying no. Hiruzen's mouth tightened. A good shinobi acted under uncertainty. A good Hokage survived it. A good teacher hated both options. I will speak with him, Hiruzen said. Kakashi nodded. Alone? Yes. I don't recommend that. Hiruzen smiled faintly. You are advising your Hokage not to meet privately with a 12-year-old genin. I am advising an old man not to mistake love for safety. The words landed hard. Hiruzen did not rebuke him. After a long moment, he said, Noted. Naruto was summoned the next evening. He arrived exactly on time. That alone made Hiruzen miss the old Naruto so sharply it almost stole his breath. The boy used to burst into his office through doors, windows, or occasionally ceiling panels if he had been especially creative. He would demand missions, complain about paperwork, steal candy from the dish, and pretend he did not desperately enjoy having the Hokage's attention. Now Naruto knocked. Hiruzen closed his eyes briefly. Come in. Naruto entered. He looked smaller than the report had made him sound. That was the cruelty of paperwork. It turned children into subjects, anomalies, cases. Here was the boy himself, bandages mostly gone, orange jacket clean, blue eyes tired. The same child Hiruzen had watched from afar for years, and not the same. Naruto, Hiruzen said warmly. Old man. There it was, the familiar name, but Naruto said it softly now, like testing whether the bridge between them still held. Hiruzen gestured to the chair across from his desk. Sit. Naruto sat for a moment, neither spoke. Hiruzen studied him. Naruto studied the room. That was new. Before, Naruto had always looked at Hiruzen first. Hungry for attention, hungry for approval, hungry for something grandfather-shaped that neither of them had fully named. Now his eyes moved over scroll shelves, window angles, guard positions, sealed tags, escape routes. Then he looked embarrassed, as if he had realized what he was doing. Hiruzen's heart hurt. Wave country, the Hokage said. Kakashi tells me the mission was successful. Naruto nodded. Yes. Tazuna survived. The bridge was completed. Yes. And Zabuza Mamachi withdrew. Yes, you fought Haku. Naruto's fingers tightened on his knees. Something fought Haku. Hiruzen's expression did not change. Something, Naruto looked at him. You read Kakashi-sensei's report. I did. Then you know. I know what Kakashi saw. I want to know what you experienced. Naruto looked down. For a while, the only sound was the soft crackle of Hiruzen's pipe. I was dying, Naruto said. Or I thought Sasuke was, maybe both. The fox started coming up. Hiruzen's hand tightened around the pipe. Naruto noticed. So it's true, Naruto. The fox. Hiruzen sighed. Yes, Naruto smiled faintly. It was a terrible little smile. I thought I'd be angrier. Hiruzen closed his eyes. You have every right to be. Do I? Yes. Naruto looked honestly confused by that. Hiruzen wished someone had struck him. It would have hurt less. Naruto leaned back slightly. The fox came up. Then something under it grabbed the power. Like, he searched for words, like taking a torch from a child. The room cooled. Hiruzen kept his breathing steady. And then, I fell into a throne room. Hiruzen said nothing, Naruto's eyes unfocused, stone, gray banners, a throne made of something like bone. He was sitting there. Naruto's lips pressed together. He calls himself Baraggan. The name did not belong in Konoha. Hiruzen knew that immediately. Some names were like foreign weapons. You did not need to recognize the maker to know the edge was real. Baraggan, Hiruzen repeated carefully. The room grew colder. Naruto flinched. Don't. Hiruzen stopped. Naruto's face tightened. He likes being named. That was useful and horrifying. Hiruzen leaned forward. What does he want? Naruto gave a humorless laugh. To be king. Of what? Naruto looked at the Hokage. The answer was obvious. Hiruzen felt old, older than he had that morning. I see, he said. No, you don't. Naruto's voice sharpened, then immediately softened. Sorry. No, continue. Naruto rubbed his hands together. He doesn't want things like normal people. He doesn't want ramen. He doesn't want friends. He doesn't even hate like the fox hates. He just waits. Like everything will become his eventually because everything ends. Hiruzen's gaze lowered. The will of fire. He had spoken of it to generations, to students, to grieving families, to shinobi being sent on missions they might not return from. The will of fire was Konoha's answer to death. You live on through those you protect. You burn so the next generation has warmth. You die, but your will continues. And now, inside Naruto, something had awakened whose entire existence mocked that belief. Everything ends, not as despair, as law. Hiruzen stood slowly and walked around the desk. Naruto tensed but did not move. The Hokage stopped a few feet away. Naruto, he said gently, do you remember what I told you about the will of fire? Naruto's eyes flickered. Yes. Tell me, Naruto swallowed, that the people of the village are like one family, that the older generation protects the younger, that their will keeps burning after they're gone. Hiruzen smiled softly. And do you believe that? Naruto opened his mouth, closed it. For a moment, the boy looked so lost that Hiruzen wanted to cross the room and hold him like Kushina might have. But he remained still. Naruto stared at his hands. I want to. The honesty was worse than rejection. Hiruzen knelt in front of him, a Hokage kneeling before a genin, an old man before a child. Wanting to believe is not failure. Naruto's eyes shone. Inside the room, the temperature dropped. Hiruzen saw his breath. Naruto whispered, he says you love your kings until they outgrow the kingdom. Hiruzen's heart tightened. That is a lonely way to see the world. Naruto looked at him. Is it wrong? The question had teeth. Not because Naruto meant it cruelly. Because Baraggan had placed it where Naruto would eventually find it. Hiruzen took a long breath. Power can outgrow rank. It can outgrow law. It can outgrow the people who try to control it. Naruto listened. But love is not a kingdom, Hiruzen said. It is not smaller because someone becomes stronger. Naruto's face trembled. For a second, Hiruzen thought he had reached him. Then Naruto's eyes changed, not fully, not Baraggan taking control, just influence. The boy's expression became calm and terribly patient. "Love dies too," Naruto said. The words were soft, they were not his. Hiruzen felt the old instincts wake. He was not just a grandfatherly old man. He was the third Hokage. He had survived wars. He had buried students. He had killed when necessary and endured the cost when it was not. His chakra rose, controlled and warm. Not aggressive, present, the room answered with cold. For 1 second, Hiruzen felt the edge of the thing inside Naruto, not its full power, not even close, only a shadow. But that shadow carried age beyond anything human. It did not threaten him. That was the worst part. Threats implied urgency. This presence simply regarded him as something that would one day be dust. Hiruzen met Naruto's eyes. "Perhaps," he said, "but while it lives, it matters." Naruto blinked. The cold retreated. His eyes became his own again. He covered his mouth with one hand. "I'm sorry." Hiruzen placed a hand on his shoulder. This time, Naruto did not flinch. The room remained cold, but nothing decayed. That was a victory, small but real. "You are not alone," Hiruzen said. Naruto wanted to believe him. That was enough for tonight. After Naruto left, Hiruzen remained kneeling for several seconds. Then he stood, returned to his desk, and opened a locked drawer. Inside were files he had hoped never to need. Old myths, border records, reports from contacts beyond the elemental nations, fragments concerning spiritual planes. Soul reapers, hollows that ruled, hollows that aged kingdoms by existing too long near them. Hiruzen did not yet know enough, but he knew the name now. Baraggan, names were beginnings. That night, Naruto returned to his apartment exhausted. He did not turn on the light. Moonlight filled the small room. His bed was unmade. His cup ramen sat untouched near the sink. On the wall above his desk hung a poster of the Hokage monument. He had bought it with saved coins years ago. It was cheap, slightly torn at one corner. The colors had faded where sunlight hit it. But Naruto had loved it. He used to look at that poster before sleep. Used to imagine his face beside the others. Used to imagine the village looking up. He stood before it now, for a long time. Inside, Kurama paced. Baraggan sat silent. That silence felt like permission. Naruto hated that. He reached up and removed the poster carefully, not angrily, not tearing it down. That would have been easier. He rolled it slowly, smoothing the edges so it would not crease more than it already had. His hands shook. By the time he tied it with string, his eyes were burning. He did not cry. He wanted to, he knew he should. But the tears would not come. That frightened him more than anything else that day. Naruto opened his closet and placed the poster in the back, behind old clothes, behind empty instant ramen boxes he had forgotten to throw away, behind the remains of a younger life. Then he closed the door. The room seemed larger without the poster, emptier. Naruto turned toward the mirror above the sink. For 1 second he saw himself. Then the air above his brow shimmered. A crown appeared, pale, jagged, made of bone. It lasted less than a heartbeat, but it was there. Fully visible. Naruto stumbled back, hitting the wall. No. Inside the mindscape, a new spur locked into place above the throne. Baraggan's voice moved through him like old wind across stone. The crown does not ask permission to exist. Naruto slid down the wall and buried his face in his hands. Far beneath him, Kurama howled, not in triumph, not in rage, in warning. Across the world, in a hidden chamber lit by cold lamps, Orochimaru read a report from Wave Country. Then a second from Konoha. Then a third from one of his spies near the academy. Kabuto stood nearby, silent and attentive. Orochimaru did not blink for a long time. That was rare. He was a creature of motion. Smiles, gestures, long fingers turning pages, soft laughter, eyes always hungry. But now he was still, genuinely still. Kabuto adjusted his glasses. "My lord." Orochimaru lifted one page. The Nine Tails vessel manifested an energy signature the Sharingan could not classify. Kabuto nodded. So the report claims. His breath decayed a chakra-constructed ice technique. Yes. And Zabuza Mamachi withdrew voluntarily. Kabuto's voice remained neutral. That is the most convincing part of the report. Orochimaru smiled, slowly. It was not a pleasant expression. No, Kabuto, the most convincing part is that Kakashi Hatake did not exaggerate. He set the report down, his golden eyes gleamed. For years, the shinobi world has mistaken chakra for the whole of power. How provincial. Kabuto watched him carefully. You believe this is not a Jinchuriki mutation? I believe the boy has become a doorway. A doorway to what? Orochimaru's smile widened. Something old enough to make the 9 tails irrelevant. Kabuto said nothing. Orochimaru turned to a blank scroll and wrote a title at the top with elegant precision. Soul Society Boundary Dissolution, Case Study. Uzumaki, Naruto, then he paused. Tell the sound 4 to avoid direct contact with the Uzumaki boy during the exams. Kabuto's eyebrows lifted slightly. Avoid, for now. Orochimaru's tongue flicked across his lips. There are treasures one grabs, there are treasures one studies, and then he looked down at the reports again. There are tombs one does not open until one knows whether the king inside is truly dead. Far away in Konoha, Naruto sat alone beneath a moonlit window. In his closet, the Hokage poster lay rolled and hidden. In his mirror, the crown had vanished. But in the mindscape, above the gray throne, the bone crown had become real. And on that throne, Baraggan Louisenbairn waited, not because he was patient, because patience was what weaker beings called inevitability before they understood it. Chapter 5. The exams of the dead, a kingdom assessed the Chunin exams arrived like a festival wearing a knife behind its back. Konoha filled with foreign shinobi, sand, rain, grass, sound. Teams from different villages moved through the streets with headbands bright and eyes sharper than their smiles. Merchants loved it. Children stared. Older shinobi watched rooftops more carefully than usual. To most people, the exams were opportunity, promotion, glory, proof. To Naruto Uzumaki, they felt like a census of future corpses. He hated that thought the moment it entered his mind. It was not fully his. That had become the rhythm of his life now. A thought would appear, shaped like him, wearing his voice but colder around the edges. A genin from Rain laughed too loudly near a food stand. Naruto thought, loud things die begging for silence. He clenched his fists until his nails bit his palms. A sand shinobi glared at him from across the street. Naruto thought, desert kingdoms crumble slower, but they crumble. He looked away. A group of academy children ran past, pretending to be exam candidates. Naruto thought, they play at war because adults taught them death could be a ladder, that one hurt because it sounded true. Not Baraggan's voice exactly. Worse. It sounded like Naruto learning to speak Baraggan's language. He walked beside Sakura and Sasuke toward the academy building where the first exam would be held. Kakashi had vanished earlier after giving them his usual lazy encouragement, which had mostly been a warning disguised as a joke. Try not to die, Kakashi had said. Normally, Naruto would have shouted something about becoming Chunin in one day, then Hokage by the weekend. This time he had only nodded. Kakashi had looked at him for a long second, then smiled with his visible eye. You're allowed to want this, Naruto? Naruto had not known what to say. Did he want it? A month ago he would have screamed yes. Chunin meant rank. Rank meant recognition. Recognition meant one step closer to Hokage, but the poster of the Hokage monument was still rolled in the back of his closet. The dream was not gone. That was the problem. It was still there, but distant, like a voice calling from the far side of a bridge that had begun to rot plank by plank. Sakura glanced at him as they approached the academy. You okay? Naruto almost said yes, then stopped. He had been trying not to lie as much. I don't know. Sakura's expression softened. Sasuke looked ahead and scoffed. You never know. Naruto turned toward him. For half a second the old response rose. Shut up, team. Then something colder moved beneath it. The Uchiha cub still believes arrogance is armor. Naruto's jaw tightened. Sasuke noticed the silence and looked over. Their eyes met. Sasuke's gaze sharpened. He could feel it now. Not always, not clearly, but enough. Since Wave, Sasuke had become sensitive to that moment when Naruto's face became too still. Naruto looked away first. That annoyed Sasuke more than an argument would have. Outside the academy, the crowd thickened. Genin from different villages pushed, bragged, whispered, and measured each other with open hostility. The building seemed too small for all that ambition. Kiba spotted Team 7 near the entrance and waved with too much energy. "Yo, Naruto!" Naruto turned. Kiba grinned. Akamaru perched inside his jacket. "You ready to get destroyed?" Naruto looked at him for a moment. Akamaru's ears flattened. The little dog whimpered once and ducked deeper into Kiba's coat. Kiba's grin faltered. Naruto blinked, then stepped back. "Sorry." Kiba frowned. "For what?" Akamaru refused to come out. Kiba looked from the dog to Naruto. "What did you do?" Naruto's hands tightened. "Nothing. It was true." That made it worse. Hinata stood behind Kiba, watching quietly. Her fingers pressed together, but she did not look away from Naruto. That helped, more than it should have. Naruto gave her a small nod. Hinata's face went pink. Then her eyes lowered, and Naruto noticed a small paper packet in her hand. Food. Again, he almost smiled. Then the academy doors opened and the first stage swallowed them. The written exam room was designed to make children feel small, rows of desks. Watchful Chunin. Foreign Genin packed shoulder to shoulder. The atmosphere was thick with sweat, nerves, and hidden weapons. At the front of the room stood Ibiki Morino. Naruto had never seen a man look more like a final warning. Ibuki's scarred face swept over the room with professional cruelty. He did not need to raise his voice. The room quieted because every genin instinctively understood that this man knew how to break people and had probably made a career of being polite about it. Naruto sat between Sakura and Sasuke. The paper landed on his desk. He looked down. The questions were impossible. Mathematical trajectory calculations, cryptographic pattern analysis, advanced mission logistics, information extraction scenarios, things no normal genin should be expected to answer. Sakura's pencil began moving almost immediately. Sasuke's eyes narrowed, already searching for the trick. Naruto stared at the first question. For one familiar second, panic rose. Old panic. Good panic. Normal panic. I don't know this. I'm going to fail. Everyone's going to laugh. Then the panic hit something cold inside him and died. Naruto's breathing slowed. The room changed, not physically. His perception did. He saw the test not as questions but as structure, a trap pretending to be paper. The impossible difficulty was not the point. The surveillance was the point. The examiner's posture, the planted Chunin, the two obvious geniuses, the spacing between desks, the way candidates' eyes flicked sideways. The exam was about cheating. No, not cheating, information gathering under pressure. Naruto looked at the first question again. For a moment, he thought he would need to steal answers. Then something in his mind shifted. Not Baraggan taking over, not exactly, more like an old library door opening in the dark. Pattern, distance, motion, time. The numbers on the page stopped being random. Naruto wrote the answer. His handwriting was slower than Sakura's, less elegant but steady. He moved to the second question, then the third. Ibiki noticed, from the front of the room, his eyes settled on Naruto. The blonde Uzumaki had been marked as a problem candidate for obvious reasons. Loud, impulsive, academically weak, unpredictable due to Jinchuriki's status. The file had been updated after Wave. Now the notes were stranger, behavioral shift, unclassified energy event, do not provoke without Jonin authorization. Ibiki had read that line twice and disliked it both times. Now the boy was answering questions he should not understand, not by looking around, not by signaling, not by copying. He simply read, paused, and wrote. That was wrong, wrong in a quiet way. Ibiki preferred loud wrong. Loud wrong was easy to pressure. Naruto reached the 10th question and stopped. The final question had not yet been announced. His pencil hovered. The old Naruto might have looked around in confusion. This Naruto closed his eyes. Inside, the throne room waited. Baraggan's presence sat far below, silent but awake. Kurama paced behind his gate, irritated by boredom. "This is stupid," the fox growled. "They gather children in a room and call it strength. Naruto almost laughed. For once, Kurama sounded like him. Baraggan's voice drifted from the throne. No, they call it selection. All kingdoms require ways to sort those useful to power from those consumed by it. Naruto opened his eyes. I'm not your kingdom, not yet, Baraggan said. Naruto gripped the pencil so hard it cracked. Sakura glanced at him. You okay? She whispered. A Chunin immediately looked their way. Naruto nodded once and forced his hand to relax. When Ibiki explained the true 10th question, the room became a furnace of fear. Stay and risk never becoming Chunin if you fail. Quit and protect your team. Choose pressure. Choose shame. Choose uncertainty. One by one, hands rose. Teams withdrew. Dreams cracked quietly across the room. Naruto watched them leave. The old Naruto would have exploded by now. He could almost feel that version of himself standing inside his chest, furious, shouting that no one had the right to take his dream away. That boy was still there, small, bruised, but alive. Naruto raised his hand. Sakura froze. Sasuke's eyes widened. Ibiki looked directly at him. Uzumaki Naruto, are you withdrawing? Naruto stood. The room turned toward him for one terrible second. Sakura thought he was going to quit. Then Naruto lowered his hand and placed it flat on the desk. No, his voice was not loud. That made everyone listen harder. I was just making sure you saw me. Ibiki's eyebrow lifted. Naruto looked at him. I'm not quitting. The words did not burst out like a challenge. They landed like a stone dropped into a grave. I don't care if I stay Genin forever. I don't care if every village in this room writes my name down as a failure. I've had people decide what I was before I could speak. I'm done helping them. Silence. Then, faintly, the room breathed. Sakura stared at him. Sasuke's mouth tightened into something almost like approval. Hinata's eyes shone from several rows away. Ibiki studied Naruto for a long moment. Then he smiled. It was not kind, but it was real. Good answer. The first exam ended. They passed. The second exam began with Anko Mitarashi crashing through a window and announcing herself like a natural disaster with excellent timing. Naruto stared. For 1 second, genuinely, beautifully, he forgot to be haunted. Is she insane? He whispered. Sakura exhaled in relief so sharp it was almost a laugh. Sasuke muttered, probably. Anko explained the forest of death with far too much enthusiasm. Consent forms, scrolls, survival, possible death, 50% failure rate. She smiled through all of it like she was describing a picnic where the sandwiches might bite back. Naruto should have been excited. A forest, enemies, a chance to prove himself. Instead, when he looked beyond the fence at the dark trees, he felt the forest looking back, not with malice, with age. Trees understood time better than people did. That thought was definitely Baraggan's. Naruto rubbed his forehead. Sakura noticed. Naruto? I'm fine. She gave him a look. He sighed. I'm mostly fine. Better. Their team received a heaven scroll. The gates opened. They entered the forest of death. The forest swallowed sound differently from normal woods. Every branch seemed to hold its breath. Every shadow looked deep enough to hide a blade. Insects hummed. Leaves whispered. Somewhere far away, a scream rose and stopped too quickly. Sakura moved carefully, alert and pale. Sasuke took point without being asked. Naruto followed near the center, quieter than either of them liked. For the first few hours, things were almost ordinary. They avoided one team, tracked another, set basic traps. Naruto contributed. That was new too. Not loudly. Not with random ideas that somehow worked because fate had a soft spot for idiots. He noticed broken twigs, disturbed moss, the faint scrape marks where a team had passed too quickly. Sasuke noticed him noticing. Since when can you track? Naruto crouched near a patch of mud. I don't know. Sasuke hated that answer. Sakura hated that it was probably true. By afternoon, they were attacked by a grass team. It should have been simple. 3 genin, decent coordination, too confident. The first threw kunai from the trees while the second rushed Sakura. The third tried to circle behind Sasuke. Naruto moved before Sasuke could shout, not fast in the usual way, timed. He stepped into the rushing genin's path and exhaled softly, not respira, not fully, just enough. The attacker's sandals hit the ground inside Naruto's passive field. His rhythm broke. His knee stiffened. His shoulder dipped too early. Naruto caught his wrist, twisted, and guided him face first into the dirt with almost no visible effort. The boy groaned, stunned but alive. Naruto released him immediately and stepped back as if afraid of touching too long. Sakura knocked out the second with a clean strike. Sasuke handled the third. They took an earth scroll from the team and left them tied safely to a tree. Sakura looked at Naruto. That was good. Naruto stared at his hand. Was it? Sasuke's eyes narrowed. You won, don't make it complicated. Naruto laughed softly. Winning is usually complicated. Sasuke did not have a reply. Evening came, then the forest changed. It began with birds. They stopped, all at once. Sasuke felt it first in his skin. Sakura felt it second in her stomach. Naruto felt it as recognition. Something was approaching, not old like Baraggan, not hot like Kurama, cold in a different way, hungry, curious. A snake sliding through the shape of a man. Orochimaru arrived wearing another face. That was the first insult. Naruto knew immediately. He did not know how, but he knew. The grass ninja's face smiled too widely. His skin fit like clothing. His eyes moved with a patience that did not belong to a genin. Sasuke tensed. Sakura stepped back. Naruto stood still. The false grass ninja looked at Sasuke first. Of course he did. Everyone always looked at Sasuke first when they wanted power with a famous name attached. What a promising little Uchiha, the stranger said. His voice crawled. Sasuke activated his Sharingan. Who are you? The stranger smiled wider. A fan. The killing intent hit. Sakura froze. Sasuke's breath caught. Naruto felt the world fill with snakes. The killing intent was not just threat. It was image. Death shown in advance. Bodies broken. Blood spilled. Fear made visible. The old Naruto might have buckled. Even Sasuke staggered beneath it. But Naruto had stood in a throne room beneath the Nine Tails' rage. He had been looked at by a king who considered life a temporary inconvenience. Orochimaru's killing intent was terrifying. It was also young. Naruto lifted his head. The stranger's eyes shifted to him. For the first time, the smile paused. Oh, Orochimaru said softly, just that. Oh, as if he had opened a box and heard something breathing inside. Sasuke forced himself to move. The battle began. It was fast, brutal, and wrong. Orochimaru toyed with them at first. He drove Sasuke backward, tested his Sharingan, pressured Sakura, avoided Naruto more than he engaged him. That was what Sasuke noticed, avoided. The snake moved around Naruto's space with deliberate care, not fear, study, that enraged Sasuke more than direct insult. Stop looking at him. Sasuke snapped. Orochimaru's smile returned. Jealousy is such a useful flavor. He struck. Sasuke fought better than he ever had. Fireball, shuriken, wire, movement through branches. For several glorious seconds, the Uchiha looked like everything his clan name promised. Then Orochimaru caught him anyway. It happened too quickly. A stretch of neck, a flash of teeth. Sakura screamed. The bite landed at Sasuke's neck. The curse mark burned into skin. Sasuke's scream tore through the forest. Naruto moved, not Baraggan, Naruto. Rage exploded through him, hot and immediate. Sasuke! Kurama surged behind the gate. For the first time since Wave, the fox's chakra reached upward without being fully caught. Red flickered around Naruto's skin. Orochimaru turned toward him, interested. Then the red died. Gray took its place. The forest temperature dropped. Leaves around Naruto dulled at the edges. Orochimaru froze, not from fear, from calculation so sharp it looked like stillness. Naruto's posture changed. His shoulders rolled back. His chin lifted. Blue eyes became distant. Baraggan looked through them. Orochimaru stared into Naruto's face. The smile faded completely. For 1 second, Snake and King regarded each other. Orochimaru had seen many things. He had studied forbidden jutsu. He had cut into the secrets of bodies and souls. He had pursued immortality through science, cruelty, genius, and obsession. He had looked into the eyes of monsters and wondered how to become one, but this was different. The thing inside Naruto was not pursuing immortality. It treated immortality as too small a word. Orochimaru's tongue flicked across his lips. Fascinating, Naruto spoke. No, Baraggan spoke, Snake. Orochimaru's eyes gleamed. King, the forest went silent. Sakura, kneeling beside Sasuke, stared in horror. Naruto's mouth curved faintly. You wear bodies poorly. Orochimaru laughed softly. And you wear that one like a stolen throne. The gray field expanded one step. Leaves fell dead from the nearest branch. Orochimaru's eyes tracked the decay. Not chakra, he whispered. Not entirely. Baraggan lifted Naruto's hand. Orochimaru stepped back before the gesture completed. That was enough. Not retreat, not panic. A researcher moving away from an unstable reaction. His gaze moved once more to Sasuke, then to Naruto. I came for the Uchiha today. His smile returned, thinner now, but perhaps the world has been hiding better questions. Naruto's eyes narrowed. Come closer and become an answer. Orochimaru laughed. This time there was genuine delight in it. No, not yet. He melted into the forest. Gone, the pressure vanished. Naruto dropped to one knee, gasping. Sakura shouted his name, but he held up one hand. Check Sasuke. I am checking Sasuke. Her voice cracked. Sasuke writhed against the dirt, curse marks spreading like black fire across his skin. Naruto crawled toward him. Sakura hesitated. Not because she wanted to stop him, because she remembered what Naruto's touch could do. Naruto saw the hesitation. Pain flashed across his face. I won't hurt him. Sakura swallowed. I know. She let him closer. Naruto placed his hand near Sasuke's shoulder, not touching the mark. Inside him, Kurama snarled. Weak Uchiha. Naruto snapped inward. Shut up. Baraggan remained silent. That silence felt like judgment. The night passed badly. Sasuke burned with fever. Sakura stayed awake, guarding both teammates with kunai in hand and terror in her chest. Naruto sat opposite her, watching the trees. At some point she whispered, Why did Orochimaru leave? Naruto did not look at her, because he understood enough. Enough what? Naruto's voice was quiet, that he didn't understand enough. Sakura hugged her knees. That doesn't make me feel better. Me neither. By morning, Sasuke's fever had lowered. The curse mark remained, so did the silence around Naruto. They moved toward the tower after another day of careful travel. That was when they crossed paths with Gaara, not fought, not challenged, simply crossed paths, and it was worse. Team 7 emerged into a clearing at the same time as the Sand siblings. Temari stopped first. Kankuro's hand moved toward the wrapped puppet on his back. Gaara stood between them, gourd heavy over his shoulder, pale eyes fixed on Naruto. The forest seemed to lean away from both boys. Naruto felt Shukaku before he understood it. A jagged presence inside Gaara, wild, unstable, lonely in a way that hurt to look at. Kurama stirred. Another cage. Baraggan's interest sharpened. Gaara stared at Naruto. For most of his life, Gaara had understood people through fear. They feared him, so they existed. They hated him, so he killed them. They attacked, so he proved he was real. But the blond boy across the clearing did not look at him with fear. He looked at him with recognition. That was unbearable. Inside Gaara, Shukaku began laughing, then stopped. The silence was so sudden Gaara's eyes widened. Shukaku never stopped. The demon inside him recoiled from Naruto like an animal smelling fire beneath snow. Gaara's fingers twitched. For 3 seconds, his body felt old, his joints ached, his skin felt thin. His sand shifted uneasily, not protecting him so much as hiding closer. Naruto did not move, neither did Gaara. Temari looked between them, face tense. Kankuro whispered, Gaara! Gaara's eyes remained on Naruto. What are you? Naruto almost laughed. Everyone kept asking him that. He was starting to hate the question more than the answer. I'm Naruto Uzumaki. Gaara's expression did not change. That is a name, Naruto nodded. Yeah, a pause. Sometimes that's all you get. Something flickered in Gaara's eyes, not softness, not yet, but confusion. That was close enough to human. Baraggan's voice stirred inside Naruto. Break him now. Lesser vessels become problems when allowed to ripen. Naruto's hands curled. No, Kurama growled. For once, the fox did not disagree. Gaara stepped forward, his sand rose slightly. Naruto's gray field stirred in answer. The two pressures touched the air between them. Sand trembled, leaves fell. Sakura stopped breathing. Sasuke, still pale from the curse mark, activated his Sharingan. Temari whispered, "Don't." No one knew which boy she meant. Naruto looked at Gaara and said softly, "Something was put inside you too." Gaara froze. The sand stopped moving. Naruto continued, "Before you were old enough to say no." Gaara's eyes widened by the smallest amount. Kankuro looked alarmed. Temari went pale. Naruto stepped aside. "We don't have to fight today." Gaara stared at him. Inside Gaara, Shukaku remained silent. That silence scared him more than any voice ever had. After a long moment, Gaara walked past, faster than he meant to. Temari and Kankuro followed immediately. No one spoke until the sand team vanished into the trees. Sakura released a shaking breath. "What just happened?" Naruto looked at the path Gaara had taken. "I don't know." Sasuke's voice was sharp. "You keep saying that." Naruto looked back at him. "I keep meaning it." They reached the tower with both scrolls. They passed the second exam. The preliminaries began almost immediately. A large room, balconies, Jonin observers, exhausted genin. Too many dangerous children pretending they were ready to be weapons. Naruto stood with Team 7 and looked over the remaining candidates. Kiba, Hinata, Shino, Shikamaru, Temari, Gaara, Lee, Neji. Others he did not know. The exam proctor, Hayate Gecko, coughed like a man personally arguing with his lungs and explained the one-on-one matches. Names appeared on the board. The first fights began. Sasuke fought despite the curse mark. Naruto watched carefully, worry pressing beneath his ribs. When Sasuke won, Naruto felt relief, then anger, then envy, then shame for feeling envy. He was still human enough for that. Good. The matches continued. Then the board flickered. Uzumaki Naruto vs. In Uzuka Kiba grinned. Finally. Akamaru barked once from his hood, then Naruto stepped onto the floor. Akamaru went silent, the little dog's body stiffened. Kiba frowned. "Akamaru!" Akamaru trembled. A thin whine escaped him. The room noticed. Kiba's face reddened. "Hey, what's wrong with you? We trained for this." Akamaru refused to move. Naruto stopped several steps away. He looked genuinely pained. Kiba glared at him. "Don't." Naruto closed his mouth. Kiba gently took Akamaru from his jacket and set him near the wall. "Stay there if you're scared." He muttered, trying to sound angry instead of hurt. Akamaru crouched low, eyes fixed on Naruto. Hayate raised one hand. "Begin." Kiba attacked immediately, fast, direct, angry. "Beast-human clone." He stopped. "No, Akamaru," his teeth clenched. "Fine, I'll beat you myself." He dropped to all fours and launched into Taijutsu, moving with feral speed. Naruto did not form a hand sign. He did not summon shadow clones. He did not shout. He watched. Kiba's first strike came from the left. Naruto stepped back. Second strike, low. Naruto turned his knee aside. Third, a feint into a shoulder rush. Naruto shifted one foot. Kiba entered the edge of the passive decay field, not full Respira. Naruto would not allow that, just the faint temporal drag that followed him now when he stopped suppressing it. Kiba's coordination stuttered. His mind commanded speed. His muscles answered a fraction late. To anyone else, it would have looked like Kiba slipped. To Kiba, it felt like his body betrayed him. Naruto caught his sleeve, turned, and let Kiba's own momentum throw him across the floor. Kiba rolled and sprang back up. "What did you do?" Naruto lowered his hand. "I don't know," Kiba snarled. "Stop saying that." He attacked again. This time Naruto backed away, keeping distance, controlling his breath. The audience murmured. This was not the Naruto they expected. No wild clones, no screaming, no lucky nonsense. He looked almost reluctant. That made the fight uglier. Kiba pushed harder. Naruto dodged more narrowly. The field brushed Kiba again, his right leg slowed. Naruto tapped his shoulder, hooked his ankle, and put him down, not violently, decisively. Kiba hit the floor and tried to rise. His arms shook, not from damage, from confusion. His body felt heavy, old for a heartbeat, then normal, then old again when he pushed too close. Kiba looked up at Naruto. For the first time, anger slipped and something like fear showed through. Naruto saw it. He stepped back. The field faded. Kiba's breathing steadied. Hayate watched carefully. "Kiba in Uzuka is unable to continue." Kiba slammed a fist against the floor. I can still, Akamaru barked from the wall, not encouragement, warning. Kiba froze, he looked at his partner. Akamaru stared back, shaking. Kiba's jaw tightened. He looked at Naruto again, then away. I forfeit. The room went silent. Naruto won. No one cheered, not really. Sakura clapped first. A few others followed. Hinata's hands came together softly. Kakashi watched from the balcony, expression unreadable. Kurenai looked troubled. Asuma frowned. Guy, for once, did not shout about youth. Naruto walked back to the balcony. Kiba passed him on the way out. For a second, Naruto thought Kiba would insult him. Instead, Kiba muttered, "Akamaru doesn't hate you." Naruto blinked. Kiba kept walking. He's just scared. Naruto's throat tightened. "Yeah," he whispered. "I know." The remaining matches continued, but Naruto barely watched. His own victory felt like ash. Later, on the roof of the exam tower, Jiraiya found him. Naruto had slipped away after the preliminaries, needing air. The village spread below in afternoon light. The Hokage monument watched from the mountain. Naruto sat cross-legged near the edge, not looking down, looking at the stone faces. Jiraiya landed behind him with the dramatic confidence of a man who had never once entered a scene normally in his entire life. "Well, well," Jiraiya said. "So this is where the famous troublemaker hides." Naruto did not turn. "You're standing too loudly for a spy." Jiraiya paused, then grinned. Brat's got attitude. "Good. I was worried the reports were exaggerating." Naruto looked over his shoulder. The man was tall, white-haired, and dressed like someone had combined a shinobi, a mountain hermit, and a walking midlife crisis. His forehead protector bore the kanji for oil. His grin was huge. Naruto stared. "Who are you?" Jiraiya struck a pose. "Behold, the great sage of Mount Myaboku." The legendary Naruto turned back to the monument. "Never mind," Jiraiya froze. "That's not how this usually goes. I'm not in the mood." The grin faded slowly. Jiraiya walked over and sat beside him. For once, he did it quietly. They sat in silence. Naruto expected the man to fill it. He didn't. That made Naruto suspicious. Finally, Naruto said, "You knew my father." Jiraiya went still only for a second, but Naruto saw it. The silence that followed was different, heavier. "Yes," Jiraiya said. Naruto's hands curled. Was he the fourth? Jiraiya closed his eyes. Kakashi had not told him Naruto knew enough to ask that directly. "No one told you." Naruto laughed once. "No one tells me anything until it starts crawling out of my stomach." Jiraiya winced. "Fair." "Yes," he said. "Minato Namikaze was your father." The world did not explode. Naruto had imagined this moment might feel like lightning. Instead, it felt like another door opening onto a room he should have been allowed to enter years ago. "And my mother, Kushina Uzumaki." Naruto's breath caught. Uzumaki, he had her name all this time. He had carried something from her without knowing it. What were they like? Jiraiya looked at the monument. "Your father was brilliant, kind when he could be, terrifying when he had to be. Your mother was," he smiled softly, "a storm that learned love and somehow became more dangerous." Naruto's eyes burned. He blinked hard. Inside, Baraggan said nothing. Kurama was also silent. Maybe even they understood not to touch this. For a while, Naruto could not speak. Then he whispered, "He sealed the fox in me." Jiraiya nodded. "Yes." "Did he seal the other thing too?" Jiraiya's gaze sharpened. "No." The answer came too fast to be a lie. Naruto turned toward him. "You're sure?" "I was there after. I studied the seal. Minato sealed the 9 tails, nothing else." Naruto's stomach dropped. That was what he had feared. If Minato had sealed Baraggan, then there was a reason, a mistake, a plan, a human explanation. But if he had not, then where did he come from? Naruto asked. Jiraiya looked older. "I don't know." Naruto hated those words from adults, but this time they sounded honest. Jiraiya leaned forward, elbows on knees. "There are things adjacent to our world, spiritual planes, old boundaries. Most shinobi never need to know about them because chakra is loud and men like loud answers." Naruto thought of Baraggan's voice calling jutsu primitive. "Soul Society?" Naruto asked. Jiraiya's eyes snapped to him. "Who told you that name?" Naruto's blood went cold. "Orochimaru said something about it." Not exactly true, Orochimaru had not said it in front of him, but the name had appeared in Naruto's mind after their meeting. Like Baraggan recognized the shape of the thought. Jiraiya studied him, then sighed. You are carrying something with memories older than our maps. Naruto looked back at the monument. Great, brat. What? Jiraiya's voice softened. You are still Naruto. Naruto closed his eyes. Everyone kept saying that. Kakashi, Sakura with her worried eyes. Chuchai with ramen. Hinata with food left at his door. Now this strange old sage who knew his parents. Naruto wanted it to be true. The problem was that Baraggan never argued when people said it. He only waited, as if time itself would prove them wrong. Inside the mindscape, the throne room was quiet, too quiet. Then Baraggan spoke. An army is coming. Naruto opened his eyes. What? Jiraiya frowned. What is it? Naruto stood slowly. Below, Konoha glowed in sunset, peaceful, warm, temporary. Baraggan's voice carried a new quality, not excitement. Interest. They believed themselves powerful enough. Naruto's hands went cold. What army? Jiraiya stood too. Naruto, inside the mindscape, Baraggan leaned forward on his throne for the first time. Watch what I do to their belief. Behind another gate, Kurama snarled. Naruto whispered. Something's coming. Jiraiya's face changed. The clown vanished. The Sannin remained. When? Naruto stared at the village. The answer came from the throne like a door closing. Soon, Chapter 6. The sovereign's patience, a king who waits the day of the Chunin exam finals, began with sunlight. That felt wrong to Naruto. Disasters should arrive under black clouds. Villages should fall beneath storms. Armies should move with thunder, fire, and enough warning for people to understand that the world had changed its mind about sparing them. But Konoha woke beneath a clean blue sky. Merchants opened stalls, children chased each other through alleys. Foreign shinobi moved toward the stadium in carefully controlled groups. The air smelled like fried food, dust, paper banners, and festival excitement. The village was happy. That made Naruto's skin crawl. He stood at the edge of his apartment window, looking down at the street below. People were walking toward the stadium, laughing, arguing over seats, buying snacks, complaining about heat. Living so ordinary, so temporary, Naruto closed his eyes. Stop it, he whispered. Inside him, the throne room was silent. That was how Baraggan spoke now when he wanted Naruto to suffer. Not with words, with agreement. Naruto could feel the old king watching through him, looking at the village the way someone might look at a sandcastle built too close to the tide. Not angry. Not excited, certain. Kurama paced behind his gate, claws scraping against the floor of the inner sewer. The fox had been restless since dawn. That was new. Kurama was always angry. Anger was his language, but this was different. His rage had direction now, not at Naruto, not even at Baraggan. Outward. Something is wrong, Naruto thought. Kurama's red eye opened in the dark. Of course something is wrong, brat. You are surrounded by fools pretending a tournament is not a battlefield. Naruto leaned his forehead against the window frame. Helpful as always. The fox growled. Baraggan's voice drifted from below. The beast is crude, but not incorrect. Naruto's eyes narrowed. I didn't ask you. No, you listened anyway. Naruto turned away from the window. His room looked smaller than it used to. The bed, the sink, the empty cups, the old stains on the floor. The closet where his Hokage poster still lay rolled in the back. He had not thrown it away. That mattered. He did not know why, but it mattered. Naruto crossed the room and opened the closet. The poster was still there, tied neatly with string half hidden behind old clothes. He stared at it. For a second, he considered taking it with him like a charm, like proof. Like a reminder that once, before thrones and foxes and gray breath, he had wanted something simple. No, not simple. The dream had never been simple. It had carried every lonely night, every closed door, every glare from villagers who saw a demon where a child stood. Hokage had not just meant leader, it had meant answer, it had meant I was here. Naruto reached for the poster, his fingers hovered above it. Inside, Baraggan spoke. A child's banner. Naruto's hand froze. Kurama snarled, take it, brat. Naruto blinked. He had not expected that. Kurama's voice rumbled through the seal, take it or don't, but don't let the corpse decide for you. Naruto stared into the closet. Then he picked up the poster. He did not untie it. He slipped it into his weapons pouch, where it barely fit and bent slightly at the edge. Thanks, Naruto muttered. Kurama growled. I did not do it for you. Sure. Baraggan said nothing. That felt like victory, small, pathetic maybe. But Naruto had learned that small victories mattered when you were fighting something too old to rush. He left the apartment and locked the door behind him. The stadium roared. By the time Naruto arrived, the stands were packed. Civilians, shinobi, nobles, merchants, village officials, and foreign guests filled the arena with layered noise. Flags snapped in the wind. Sunlight shone off forehead protectors. The exam floor waited below, wide and open. Naruto stood with the remaining competitors in the waiting area. Sasuke was not there yet, of course. Kakashi-sensei was probably making him late again. Sakura stood in the stands with the other eliminated genin, hands clenched at the railing. When she saw Naruto, she gave him a small wave. Naruto waved back. That was normal. He held on to it. Hinata sat beside Kiba and Shino. Akamaru was in Kiba's lap. The dog saw Naruto and stiffened, but this time he did not whimper. He only lowered his head. Kiba noticed and gave Naruto an awkward nod. Naruto nodded back. Gaara stood across the arena, silent as a closed tomb. His sand gourd rested on his back. His pale eyes fixed on Naruto once, then shifted away. Not fear, not exactly recognition. Naruto understood. They were both walking containers for things that had never asked permission to enter. Temari stood near Gaara, tense. Kankuro was absent from the competitor area after withdrawing, but Naruto could feel his eyes from the stands. The proctor announced the first match. Naruto barely listened. The noise of the stadium moved around him like a distant river. Inside, Baraggan stirred. There it is. Naruto's hands tightened. What? Kurama growled. The genjutsu. Naruto looked up. At first, nothing happened. Then, across the stadium, civilians began to sway. One man blinked slowly and slumped forward. A woman dropped her snack tray. A child leaned against his mother and went limp. Sleep spread through the stands like invisible smoke. Konoha Shinobi reacted a heartbeat later. Too late. The sky broke into feathers. White feathers drifted down across the stadium, soft and beautiful. Naruto hated them immediately. Sakura in the stands formed a release sign, eyes wide. Kakashi, standing near the upper level, did the same. Across the arena, sand and sound shinobi moved. Masks dropped. Weapons appeared. The festival tore open and showed its knife. The invasion had begun. For 1 second, the entire stadium existed in the space between pretending and panic. Then someone screamed. Explosions shook the outer wall. Smoke rose beyond the arena. A massive serpent crashed into one of Konoha's gates in the distance, its body curling over rooftops. Sound ninja poured into the village. Sand forces moved through streets. The exam became war. Naruto stood still. His heartbeat slowed, not because he was calm, because something inside him had become very, very interested. Baraggan's voice came from the throne room. There it is. Naruto looked at the chaos. They are showing you their scale. Gaara's sand began to shift. His hand rose to his head, face twisting as Shukaku screamed inside him. Naruto felt that jagged present spike. Pain, rage, madness. A cage cracking. Temari shouted something to him. Gaara did not hear. On the rooftop above the stadium, a barrier of purple flame erupted around the Hokage and the Kazekage. No, not the Kazekage. Naruto did not know how he knew, he just did. Snake. Orochimaru had arrived, the air filled with battle. Konoha Shinobi leapt into motion. Enemy ninja struck from disguised positions. Civilians collapsed under genjutsu while medics and chunin tried to drag them to safety. Naruto's first instinct was to run toward the Hokage. Old man, the thought punched through him. Hiruzen was trapped on the roof. Naruto stepped forward. Then Gaara moved. The sand boy's body convulsed. Sand crawled over his skin, shaping limbs that were not human. One eye changed. His mouth twisted into a grin that belonged to something inside him. Shukaku was surfacing. Naruto stopped. The village burned in multiple directions. Hiruzen was fighting Orochimaru. Gaara was becoming a monster. Sound and Sand shinobi were moving through Konoha streets. Sasuke had finally appeared in a blur of black and blue, Kakashi behind him, both looking toward Gaara. Too many fires. Too many choices. Naruto froze. For one horrible second, he was 12 again in the worst possible way. Who do I save first? Inside him, Kurama surged. Let me out. Naruto's eyes widened. The fox's chakra slammed against the inner gate. Let me burn them. Red heat rose through Naruto's stomach. For once, it felt tempting, simple. Power, rage, no waiting, no cold judgment, just tear through the invaders and protect what mattered. Then Baraggan spoke. The fox stays in his cage. The red chakra stopped. Kurama roared. Naruto staggered. No, Naruto whispered. Kakashi landed beside him. Naruto looked up at him. Kakashi's eye flicked over his face, instantly reading the conflict. Stay with me. The words struck deep. Stay with me, not control it, not suppress it, not don't become a monster. Stay. Naruto gritted his teeth. I can help. I know. Kakashi's tone was steady. That's why I need you to choose where. An explosion shook the stadium. Gaara leapt away, pursuing Sasuke into the forest beyond the arena, Sand trailing after him. Sasuke followed without hesitation. Sasuke! Sakura shouted from the stands. Kakashi's eye narrowed. He had to choose two. Protect the civilians. Pursue Sasuke and Gaara. Aid the Hokage. Fight the invading forces. War was made of impossible choices and bodies too small to carry them. Naruto looked toward the village streets. Sound shinobi were breaking through a side road below the stadium, heading toward civilian districts. No Jonin were close enough. Naruto's hands curled. I'll take the streets. Kakashi stared at him. Naruto, I won't use the full breath. The fact that he could say that now made something in Kakashi's face tighten. Naruto continued quickly. I'll scare them, break weapons, stop formations, not kill if I can help it. Kakashi's visible eye searched his face. Can you control it? Naruto swallowed. No, Kakashi did not flinch. Naruto forced himself to continue. But I can fight it. A pause. Then Kakashi nodded. Then fight it. That was all. No speech, no will of fire, no dramatic command, just trust offered like a blade. Naruto took it and ran. The first invading unit found him on a street near the market. 5 sound ninja, 2 sand. 1 squad leader with a scar across his mouth and orders clear in his eyes. The civilians in the area were asleep under genjutsu or hiding behind shutters. A fruit stand had been overturned. Apples rolled across the street, bright red against the dust. Naruto landed at the center of the road. The enemy squad stopped. For half a second they saw only a genin, blonde hair, orange jacket, leaf headband. Then the air changed. The squad leader frowned. Jinchuriki! 1 sound ninja lifted a kunai. Orders say suppress if red chakra manifests. Naruto exhaled slowly. No red came, gray shimmer curled from his breath. The kunai in the sound ninja's hand darkened, its edge rusted. The man stared as the weapon crumbled between his fingers. Naruto looked at the squad. Leave! The squad leader's eyes narrowed. Kill him. They moved. Trained shinobi, fast, coordinated, used to fear, used to blood, used to following orders even when instincts objected. Naruto did not charge. He walked forward. The first attacker threw shuriken. Naruto turned his head. The shuriken entered the gray field and fell as flakes of dead metal. The second came low with a blade. Naruto stepped aside. The blade passed through the edge of the field. Steel aged mid-swing, edge dulling, surface pitting, metal splitting along old fractures that had never existed a second ago. The attacker's eyes widened. Naruto caught his wrist with 2 fingers. Not enough to decay skin. Barely touching cloth, he twisted. The ninja hit the ground hard, alive and gasping. The third formed hand signs. Wind release. Naruto looked at him. The breath left Naruto's mouth in a thin gray line. The man stopped before finishing the jutsu, not because he was struck. Because the wooden post beside his head withered from fresh timber to rotten splinters in the space of one blink. His mind understood before his pride could stop him. He jumped back. The formation broke. Fear entered the squad. Baraggan's voice stirred with satisfaction. There. Belief failing. Naruto gritted his teeth, not too much. The squad leader shouted, "Regroup!" Naruto stepped forward again. The grass poking between street stones turned brown under his sandals. A sand kunoichi grabbed her injured teammate and retreated. Another sound ninja tried to circle behind him. Naruto did not turn. The man entered the edge of the passive field and suddenly stumbled, his muscles responding half a heartbeat late. Naruto swept his leg. The shinobi fell. The squad leader stared. He had prepared for a beast. He had prepared for red chakra, claws, rage, Jinchuriki speed. He had not prepared for a boy who made weapons die before they landed. He had not prepared for stillness. Naruto stopped 10 feet away. Last chance. The squad leader looked at the rusted blade in his hand, then at the gray footprints behind Naruto, then at the unconscious civilians in the houses around them. His face twisted. Retreat! They ran. Naruto let them. Kurama snarled inside, coward. Naruto did not know if the fox meant the enemy or him, maybe both. He moved through the village, not fast. Fast made people panic. Fast made him lose control. He walked. That became the first rumor of the invasion, a boy walking south through Konoha. Enemy squads met him in alleys and broke around him. Sound Ninja came with blades, wires, poison, and sound-based attacks. Some techniques worked at a distance. Naruto learned quickly. He used walls, rooftops, and broken carts for cover when he needed to. He was not invincible. A kunai cut his cheek. A sound burst made his ear bleed. A sand shinobi's blade struck his ribs hard enough to bruise, but anyone who came too close paid, not always with death. Naruto fought hard to prevent that. A sword became rust. A puppet arm rotted at the joint. A wire snapped after aging into brittle thread. A flak jacket's straps crumbled, throwing off an enemy's balance. A wooden spear became dust before its tip reached him. The invaders began shouting warnings. Don't get close. His field kills tools. Not red chakra, gray, watch for gray. The warning spread, so did fear. Naruto heard it. Baraggan drank it in like tribute. Naruto hated that too. Near the academy, a group of 3 sand shinobi cornered 2 Konoha Chunin and a cluster of academy students. Naruto arrived from the end of the street. One of the children saw him first. It was Konohamaru. The boy's eyes widened. Boss! Naruto's heart twisted. Boss! That sounded like something from before. The sand shinobi turned, one smirked. A genin, the Konoha Chunin shouted. Stay back! Naruto did not. He walked forward. The smirking sand shinobi threw a fan of senbon. For a fraction of a second, Naruto was back in the ice dome, needles in his skin, Sasuke bleeding, red rising, gray swallowing it. His breath caught. The senbon entered the field and died, all of them. Gray dust drifted to the street. The smirk vanished. Konohamaru stared. Naruto looked at him. Take the kids and run. Konohamaru didn't move. Naruto. Now! It was not Baraggan's voice, not fully, but command entered it. Konohamaru flinched, then obeyed. That hurt worse than the cut on Naruto's cheek. The Chunin dragged the children away. Naruto faced the sand shinobi. One of them backed up. Another cursed and formed hand signs. Earth rose beneath Naruto's feet, trying to bind him. The stone reached his ankles. Baraggan's power stirred. Stone remembers mountains, Baraggan whispered. Naruto clenched his teeth. The binding aged crack spread. The stone became dry, brittle, and collapsed around his sandals. The sand shinobi stared. Naruto stepped through the dust. Run! This time they did. Naruto continued south. By then, fires had started in 3 districts. He helped where he could, but his help was dangerous. He could clear debris if he touched only the right pieces. He could intimidate invaders away from trapped civilians. He could break locks by aging metal. But when a woman reached for him in gratitude, Naruto stepped away so sharply she froze. I'm sorry, he said. She looked confused. He ran before she could thank him. Eventually, he felt Gaara, not saw, felt a pressure in the forest beyond the village, jagged, huge, wounded. Shukaku was emerging. Kurama went still. Baraggan leaned forward. Naruto turned toward the trees. Far above, the purple barrier still burned around the Hokage's battle. Naruto's chest tightened. Old man, the choice returned. Hiruzen, Gaara, village streets, Sasuke. Then a burst of chakra from the forest shook the air. Sasuke's chakra, weakening. Naruto ran. The forest beyond Konoha was scarred by the time he arrived. Trees broken, sand everywhere. Massive claw marks carved through earth. Sasuke was on one knee near a tree, breathing hard, curse mark crawling over part of his skin. Sakura was trapped against the trunk by sand, struggling to breathe, but alive. Gaara stood in partial transformation, one side of his body monstrous, sand flesh twisting over human bone. His face was split between boy and demon. He laughed. It was not fully his laugh. Naruto entered the clearing. Gaara's head snapped toward him. The laughter stopped. Sasuke looked over, eyes widening. Naruto? Sakura tried to speak, but the sand tightened. Naruto's eyes moved to her, then to Gaara. His voice came low. Let her go. Gaara stared. Why? Naruto stepped forward. The grass beneath his foot browned. Because she has nothing to do with what's inside us. Gaara's monstrous eye widened. Inside him, Shukaku shrieked, "Kill him, no! Run, no! Kill!" The demon's thoughts contradicted themselves in panic, and Gaara's face twisted under the noise. Naruto felt it. He understood it. A body becoming a battlefield, a mind crowded by something too large. He kept walking. Sasuke forced himself upright. Don't get close. His sand, Naruto lifted one hand. Sasuke stopped, not because he accepted it, because he could feel the air changing. Gaara's sand rose. Absolute defense, layered fast, protective, a technique that had never failed him. The sand surged toward Naruto. Naruto exhaled. This time, Baraggan did not need to push. Naruto allowed more, not all, never all, but enough. The Respira field spread outward in a slow gray wave. The sand met it. For 1 second, nothing happened. Then the sand fell, not dramatically, not as an explosion. It simply lost its grip on purpose. The chakra binding its grains into perfect defense aged, weakened, and came apart. Compressed structure became ordinary sand. Ordinary sand became dust beneath heavier time. Gaara stared as his absolute defense collapsed at Naruto's feet. His mouth opened. No sound came. For the first time since his power had awakened, Gaara stood exposed. Not because someone had pierced his defense. Because someone had made defense irrelevant. Sakura dropped from the tree as the sand binding her weakened. Sasuke caught her awkwardly, nearly falling himself. Naruto did not look away from Gaara. The partial Shukaku form trembled. Gaara's human eye filled with something rawer than rage, fear. But not only fear, betrayal. His sand had been the one thing that never abandoned him. Now even that had fallen. Naruto knew that look. He had worn it in the ice dome when the red chakra vanished, when the thing he did not understand became stronger than the thing he feared. Gaara whispered. "What are you?" Naruto stood across from him, gray breath fading around his shoulders. "I told you." Gaara's fingers twitched. A name is not an answer. Naruto looked at the fallen sand. "No, but sometimes it's the only thing you can keep." Gaara's face twisted. Shukaku's influence surged. The monstrous limb expanded, then shook as the gray pressure brushed it. Gaara gasped. His joints ached. His sand recoiled. Naruto stepped closer. "You and I are the same construction," Naruto said. Sasuke stared at him. Sakura, coughing against Sasuke's shoulder, looked up. Naruto continued. "Something was put inside us before we were old enough to say no." Gaara's breathing hitched. His human eye trembled. "No, yes, no." Naruto stopped just outside arm's reach. "The difference is that what's inside me doesn't care if it's worshipped or feared." His eyes lowered. "It just waits." For a moment, the clearing held only wind. Then Gaara laughed. Not Shukaku, Gaara, a broken, thin sound. "That's worse." Naruto nodded. "Yeah." The honesty struck harder than comfort would have. Gaara stared at him. "What do you do?" Naruto thought of the throne, the fox, the poster in his pouch. Chuchai's ramen, Hinata's food, Sakura's hand trembling but not letting go, Kakashi telling him to fight it. Iruka writing reports that used the word child, the old man saying love mattered while it lived. Naruto's voice became quiet. I don't let it be the only voice. Gaara's face went still. Inside him, Shukaku raged, but the sand did not rise, not fully, not yet. Naruto turned away. Sasuke stared at him like he had lost his mind. You're not finishing him? Naruto looked back. No, Sasuke's jaw tightened. He's an enemy. He's a kid. Sakura's eyes softened. Gaara stared at the ground. The monstrous sand slowly pulled back, not because he was healed, not because the darkness inside him had vanished, but because something in him had become too confused to keep transforming. Sometimes confusion saved people when hope could not reach them yet. Naruto walked back toward his team, then stopped. The world shifted far away. On the rooftop, something ended. Naruto felt it like a candle going out in a room he had once been warm inside. The Hokage. He did not know how he knew, he just did. Hiruzen Sarutobai's chakra vanished from the village. Naruto's breath stopped. Sakura saw his face. Naruto, he looked toward Konoha. The purple barrier was gone. Smoke rose above the stadium. The battle's noise had changed, not ended, changed, like an army realizing the cost had become too high. Inside Naruto, Baraggan said nothing. That silence was crueler than any speech. Kurama, too, was silent. Naruto stood in the forest, hands hanging at his sides. Old man, he remembered the Hokage kneeling in front of him. Perhaps love dies, Hiruzen had said. But while it lives, it matters. Naruto's throat closed. For 1 second, the gray field around him expanded. Grass died in a circle. Sasuke pulled Sakura back. Naruto felt them move. That hurt. The field stopped. He forced it down, forced it. His hands shook. Gaara watched from the other side of the clearing. He did not understand grief the way normal people did, but he recognized the shape of someone losing the only adult who had tried to stand close without flinching. Naruto whispered, "No." No one answered. The invasion ended in fragments. Orochimaru escaped. The sound and sand forces retreated. Konoha survived. That was what the official reports would say. The village survived. But survival had never meant untouched. The stadium was damaged, streets burned, families searched for names. Medics moved until their hands shook. The dead were counted. The wounded were carried. The civilians awoke from genjutsu into a world that smelled of smoke and fear. Naruto returned to the village with Sasuke and Sakura after the enemy retreat began. No one cheered when he entered. No one cursed him either. They moved aside, some out of fear, some out of shock. Some because they had seen enemy squads turn and run from a blonde genin walking through the smoke. Naruto did not look at them. He walked through Konoha with dried blood at his cheek, dust on his clothes, and gray footprints fading slowly behind him. At one intersection, he passed Konohamaru. The boy stood with Abisu and 2 other children. His eyes were red. He looked at Naruto like he wanted to run to him. He didn't. Naruto stopped. Konohamaru's mouth trembled. "Grandpa," Naruto's heart broke. Not dramatically, quietly, like something old inside him finally cracked in the right place. He stepped toward Konohamaru. Abisu stiffened. Naruto saw it, stopped. Konohamaru saw Naruto stop. That made the boy cry harder. Naruto wanted to say something, anything, something Hokage-like, something comforting, something loud and stupid and alive. But no words came. So he reached into his pouch, pulled out the rolled poster. The edge was bent from carrying it. He looked at it once, then held it out. Konohamaru stared. "What is it?" Naruto's voice was rough. "Something I forgot I still needed." Konohamaru took it carefully. Naruto swallowed. "Keep it safe for me." Konohamaru hugged the poster to his chest and nodded. That was all Naruto could do, so he kept walking. The world took notice after Konoha. Reports moved faster than armies. Some were official, most were not. Shinobi loved secrets, but war turned secrets into currency. A sound squad leader described a boy whose breath killed steel. A sand Kunoichi swore she had seen would rot beneath his sandals. A Konoha Chunin claimed Naruto had routed 3 enemy squads without using a single recognizable jutsu. A terrified mercenary from Wave, drunk in a coastal town, told anyone who would listen that the blonde devil made men old by looking at them. Most people exaggerated. Some made the story smaller because the truth sounded insane. In a hidden chamber far from Konoha, Pain read the first Akatsuki report. Conan stood beside him. Rain tapped against the walls. Pain's eyes moved across the page once, then again. He did not often reread. This time he did. Uzumaki Naruto, Conan said softly. Pain's expression did not change. The Nine Tails vessel. Conan watched him. You believe the report, Pain set it down. The report is inconsistent in ways that suggest fear, not fabrication. Conan's eyes narrowed slightly. Decay field, weapon degradation, chakra barrier instability, biju suppression. Pain looked toward the rain-streaked window. The Nine Tails is not what is in the boy. A long silence. Then he added, or not the only thing. Conan folded her hands inside her sleeves. Should we accelerate capture plans? No. That answer came cold and immediate. Conan looked at him. Pain's Rinnegan remained fixed on the rain. We are not ready for what is in the boy. In one of Orochimaru's laboratories, the reaction was different, not caution, obsession. Scrolls covered the walls, charts of chakra pathways, diagrams of seals, notes on spiritual boundary theory. Reports from Wave, Konoha, and the Forest of Death lay arranged in careful order. Kabuto stood nearby, watching his master write. Orochimaru had not slept. That was not unusual, but this focus was different. His notes had become almost reverent. Subject displays non-chakra metaphysical pressure. Decay affects matter, chakra constructs, and possibly technique duration itself. Presence reacts to terminology connected to soul society. Potential link. Hollow sovereignty class do not engage directly until containment theory advances. Kabuto adjusted his glasses. My lord, the invasion failed. Orochimaru smiled without looking up. Politically, yes. And strategically, the smile widened. We confirmed the Uchiha's development, we marked him, we measured Konoha's weakness. Kabuto glanced at the newest scroll, and Naruto, Orochimaru's pen stopped. For a moment, his golden eyes became very still. Naruto, he said softly, is not a strategy. Kabuto waited. Orochimaru looked almost delighted. He is a warning disguised as a child. In Sunagakure, Gaara sat alone in his room. The village had not yet decided what to do with him. His father was dead. The invasion had failed. The alliance was broken. Blame moved through the sand like wind through dry streets. Gaara did not care, not yet. His sand gathered around him in small piles, not armor, not weapons, something more like a nest. He stared at his hands. Absolute defense. The words felt childish now. The blond boy had breathed once and Gaara's world had fallen to the ground. But Naruto had not killed him. That remained the part Gaara could not understand. If you had power, you used it. If someone threatened your existence, you erased them. If a monster inside you demanded blood, you gave it blood so it would prove you were alive. Naruto had looked at him and seen construction, not monster, not weapon, construction, something built without consent. Gaara's fingers curled. Inside him, Shukaku muttered restlessly. For once, Gaara did not listen. He was thinking about a sentence. I don't let it be the only voice. He did not understand it. But for the first time in his life, not understanding something made him want to keep thinking instead of killing. Konoha buried its Hokage beneath gray skies. Rain came on the funeral day. Naruto stood among the mourners in black. He hated the clothes, not because of how they looked, because they made everyone seem older. Sakura stood beside him. Sasuke stood on his other side. Kakashi was ahead with the Jonin, head bowed. Iruka stood near the academy instructors, eyes red. Konohamaru clutched the rolled poster beneath his coat. Naruto saw it and nearly broke. The funeral passed in silence. Words were spoken, honors given, the will of fire invoked. Naruto listened for once. Baraggan did not comment. Maybe Naruto had forced him quiet. Maybe the old king understood death too well to mock ceremony. Maybe he was simply waiting. When the funeral ended, people began to leave slowly. Naruto remained. Rain ran down his face, hiding what his eyes refused to release. Jiraiya came to stand beside him. For once, the Sannin said nothing ridiculous. He cared about you, Jiraiya said. Naruto's voice was flat. I know. That matters. Naruto closed his eyes. I know. But knowing and feeling were not the same. That evening, Naruto climbed the Hokage monument. He did not know why. His body moved before thought caught up. The stone was wet from rain. The village below glowed with scattered lights. Smoke still rose from a few damaged districts. Repair crews worked even at night. Konoha was rebuilding, life resuming. That should have comforted him. It did a little. It also frightened him, because Baraggan was right about one thing: everything built could be broken. Everything loved could be lost. Everything warm could go cold. Naruto sat on the fourth Hokage stone head, his father's face. He still did not know how to feel about that: angry, proud, abandoned, connected, all of it tangled together. Inside, the mindscape shifted. Naruto opened his inner eyes. For the first time, Baraggan was not seated on the throne. The old king descended the steps slowly. Kurama watched from behind his gate, red eyes narrowed. Naruto stood in the gray chamber, wary. What now? Baraggan stopped beside him, not above, not in front, beside. That was new. The king looked outward, and somehow the throne room became the monument, the village, the night. I had a kingdom, Baraggan said. Naruto did not answer. I built it alone. I held it alone. His voice was still dry, still ancient, but something beneath it had shifted. Not softness. Baraggan did not become soft, but memory had entered. And then something came that I could not decay. Naruto looked at him. Aizen. The name appeared in his mind like a blade. Baraggan's eyes sharpened. Yes. Kurama's ears twitched from his cage. Baraggan continued. I was defeated not because I was weak. I was defeated because I believed inevitability was the same as invincibility. Naruto stared. That sounded almost like a confession. The old king's gaze remained on the village. What comes next for you will be what came next for me once. Everything you build, someone will come to take. Every throne invites challenge. Every bond invites grief. Every kingdom begins dying the moment it is named. Naruto's hands curled. Then why build anything? Baraggan turned to him. For a long moment, neither spoke. Then the king said, That is the first question worthy of a ruler. Naruto looked away. I don't want to be your kind of ruler. No, Baraggan's voice was calm. You want to be loved by those you protect. Naruto flinched. The words should have been mocking. They were not. That made them worse. Baraggan looked back over Konoha. Love is a poor foundation for rule. It weakens judgment. It multiplies enemies. It makes one body carry too many lives. Naruto's voice shook. The old man said love matters while it lives. And now he is dead. Naruto's head snapped toward him. The throne room froze. Kurama snarled. Naruto's gray field sparked through the mindscape, unstable and wild. Baraggan looked at him without fear. Naruto stepped closer. Say that like it means he was wrong. Silence. The old king's eyes narrowed slightly. Naruto's voice rose. He died protecting the village. That doesn't make his love stupid. That doesn't make it small. That doesn't make you right. Baraggan said nothing. Naruto was shaking now. You think because everything ends, nothing matters, but maybe things matter because they end. Kurama went very still. The words echoed through the chamber. Naruto had not planned them. He did not even know if he fully understood them, but they felt true. And more importantly, they felt like his. Baraggan studied him. Then he gave the smallest smile, not kind, not cruel, interested. Good. Naruto blinked. What? A king who cannot answer death is no king at all. I'm not a king. Baraggan looked toward the crown forming above Naruto's head in the mindscape. The bone spurs were complete now, jagged, pale, waiting. No, Baraggan said. Not yet. Naruto hated those words. But less than before. Because now they sounded less like fate and more like a challenge. Outside on the monument, Naruto opened his eyes. The rain had stopped. Clouds parted enough for moonlight to touch the village. Below, Konoha lived, damaged, grieving, afraid. Alive. Naruto sat very still. Then he felt it, above his brow, cold weight, not physical, not fully. He reached up, his fingers passed through air. But in the reflection of a rain puddle gathered in a crack of the stone, Naruto saw it. A crown of bone, fully formed, fully visible. For one heartbeat, he wanted to scream. Then he looked past the reflection, at the village, at the lights, at the people rebuilding even though everything could fall again. The crown remained. Naruto lowered his hand. "I don't know what I am," he whispered. Inside, Baraggan stood beside him. Kurama watched from the cage. The fox did not howl this time, not in rage, not in triumph, something lower, something almost like grief. For the boy who used to want to be Hokage, for the boy who still did, small, distant, stubborn, Baraggan's voice came quieter than Naruto had ever heard it. "That is the first true thing you've said since the mirrors fell." Naruto looked down at Konoha. He did not smile. He did not cry. He did not declare he would become Hokage. Not tonight. Tonight he simply watched. A boy, a vessel, a Jinchuriki, a throne, a crown. A child standing between rage and inevitability, refusing to let either one be the only voice. Below, no one looked up. So no one saw the bone crown shining faintly above Naruto Uzumaki's brow. No one saw the old king waiting behind his eyes. No one saw the fox watching from its cage. And no one understood that the shinobi world had not just survived an invasion. It had been noticed by something older than chakra, by something patient enough to let kingdoms build themselves before deciding what they were worth. On the stone face of the fourth Hokage, Naruto sat alone until dawn. When the first sunlight touched Konoha, the crown faded. But it did not vanish, not anymore.